and you keep telling me how handsome and beautiful I am, the fuck you. Wow. And then I have to push just enough to see how much you're willing to fight for me. This is that bipolar shit. I push just hard enough to see how much you'll fight for me. We went from fighting fair to me throwing in these lines. Not everyone does this, but I'm talking about a certain group. And we talk about offering solutions. Keep in mind this group right here that will throw in one more zinger, something deep, one of your vulnerable things. BMU said it himself. When you hurt a man, men are hurt when you tap into those vulnerabilities. So boom, not always the she, but both ways. Somebody throws in a vulnerability just to have the other person fight for them. And that's taxing. But we have to give it a space. We have to give it a space. It's something realistic. No one does it on purpose. It's just too unbelievable that you would love me. It's too unbelievable. Now, in the movie Life, Eddie Murphy said something, and Martin Lawrence said, "Why you always got to say nasty shit?" And Eddie Murphy said, "Because I'm a nasty motherfucker." But boom, they maintain the friendship. And I'll end with this solution that I heard one of you just say. You don't have to act that way every time. Mrs. She said, just said it. But you don't have to act that way every time. I got it the first time. I got it the second time. And I'm still here, boo. I'm still here. I got it the third time. That shit you said before is old. Try something new. Stop. So the invite is to recognize you've already thrown your darts, shot your bullets, and done as much pain as you can, and that person is still there. All right. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Mm-hmm. Yes, it does.
All right. You guys have got quiet on me. Everyone all right? Let's liven it up a little bit.
Yes. Okay.
All right. I don't want to get overwhelming. Let's have some fun now. Let's have some fun.
Do it. We here.
Hey, Lou Medic's in the house.
Hello.
And
hey.
Lost in Translation. I don't know if we said it already. Lost in Translation's in the house. Welcome everyone to the Black Men Unfiltered Network. We are talking about solutions, and are y'all really ready for it? My goal tonight with Coach K was to push back, but to show other perspectives or other sides of relationships and how solutions might be right there before you. And some of the things you swear you'll never do, will do. All right. Coach K, you ready for some fun?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know you're like, oh, I don't know what to expect. No, I'm just talking about some regular fun. And then the channel is open, so whoever wants to come up. All right, question. And then if one of you has to turn a little bit to the side, you can't look at each other person's answer. You just give me a number. All right, ready? All right. So whoever wants to go first, but one of you turn to the side. All right, Mr. He said it's already turned. He says ladies first. All right. Mr. She said, hey, good evening, Prototype. Good to see you. Good to see you. Of these numbers, which one would you say he would pick? Of those 5 numbers, what do you think? All right. All right. Got it. Mr. He said, of these 3 numbers, which one would you pick?
Oh, that's easy. 3.
All right. All right. That's pretty good. That was easy, right? That was easy. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that was good. He said that's easy.
3 is both of our favorite.
All right.
Oh.
All right. Well, no, that's cool. Hey, they have a reason. All right, Mr. Right. He said your turn. Mrs. She said if your turn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Which would be her favorite? Got it? The same thing. This or this, or this?
The third one that you picked. The third option. Yep.
Got
that's
it.
cool.
All right, Mr. She said. All right. I have three colors up here. Which do you think Mr. He said chose for you? This color,
What is
this color,
that?
or this color?
Let's go with the black.
All right, all right, all
That's a nice
right.
case.
Yeah, I even went in the same order to think that she would think that I went out of. All right.
I don't even know
Reason
her,
I-
and I could have picked that for her.
Yeah. All right. Prototype, welcome.
Hey, Prototype.
Hello.
That game.
What's going on,
Yes, nothing much. How are you?
man? Living the dream the best way I can, you know.
Yes. What's the best way that you can?
Enjoying every moment.
Nice. You don't get stressed?
Rarely.
All right.
Very rarely. But
Yeah.
you know, no. I enjoy
Okay.
every aspect of my life.
Okay, cool.
Living in that house.
Just the time I was opening the floor up for people to have the conversation, for anyone just to talk. I've asked my questions and wore out the guests about these questions and that questions and challenging folks. But I want to have an open conversation about solutions. People say we don't give any, then we give them, and they feel like we don't, blah blah blah. And those who give them, then they push back. And just before you offer just before you present what you offer, tell us about yourself. If you have a channel, kind of what's your thing?
So,
You talking about me?
Oh yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. So no, on these YouTube streets, they call me Prototype. But yeah, I'm a part of a group over at Prototype Dad, Prototype Kingdom. Sometimes we have like lady shows, sometimes we have kid shows. We do a little bit of everything. We do movie reviews. We talk on trending topics as well. You know what I mean? It's things that help each other out. You know what I'm saying? Like we recently had an episode on how to make sure you get you max out on your yearly bonuses. You know, we had episodes about how to protect yourself, or how we should teach our kids how to protect themselves against law enforcement. You know what I'm saying? Had those conversations. So we're just trying to do things that help people and help the next generation. You know what I'm saying? Help parents, because there's no manual on how to be a father. You know what I'm saying? So we're trying to write our handbook. You know what I mean? Essentially, this is our platform is built on not only giving back to the people, but it's also there for like our lineage to know what granddad said, great granddad said. It's always out there in the world. You know what I'm saying? How we thought who our group was and what we thought was important. You know what I mean? So
Nice. Do you have a channel that we
yeah.
can
Prototype Kingdom podcast. Come on over there. We're on YouTube. We're on Spotify.
All right.
We're on all the platforms.
Hold
Man.
on,
Instagram.
some of us are slow. How you spell it? Pro
Prototype Kingdom
Yeah.
podcast.
Kingdom. All right.
Or you can find us Prototype Kingdom, Prototype Dad. But yeah, we outside, man. Check us out.
Excellent. I hope I spelled it right. Oh, Coach, thank you. Good looking out.
Appreciate it, Coach.
I didn't put all the like fun stuff, but I just wanted to get it in there.
Oh, good. I sure was plucking away. Yes, please go to the channel now. If 5 of you have not been there before, please like and subscribe. No force. Just want to offer support to everyone coming to the network to visit us. We want to offer support back. So please, if 5 of you will go to the channel, if you've not been there before, please like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. We appreciate that. All right. What do people bring to the conversation? Here's kind of the open form of the open conversation. It's about solutions. Have you tried to give solutions? Clearly, what both guests have talked about, you offer solutions. What's the pushback been like?
On giving solutions, it's the pushback is the miseducation of our culture. of the one's inner culture. You know, finding out what's important. For instance, I'm in IT, and I try to I would do like hackathons, right? I would try to do hackathons, and I was offering a nice little reward for the kids, and I was aiming for athletic kids, like you know what I mean, like kids in like football programs, you know, back. But like nobody joined the program. I had a $10,000 reward for like a winner. Nobody joined the program because they didn't understand what a hackathon was.
Is that like a cybersecurity thing?
No, so a hackathon is is like okay, so it's a competition where a group of
Oh,
people get together, pitch an idea, you form your teams, and whoever can have the best produced app, you know what I mean, functioning
oh,
the most functions at the end of the 24 hours or whatever,
oh.
win cash prize, you can win whatever, like you know what I'm saying. Um, I've done like it's helped my career, personally. I've done plenty of them, and they're fun to do. They're generally sponsored by big companies like Microsoft and Visa, or you know what I mean. It's kind of where like all these APIs got created. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
they would create some type of thing that they would want people to use, and they would create a hackathon and say, whoever can utilize this API the best, we'll give you a contract, we'll give you something to build it out, blah blah blah, X Y Z. And I was trying to
Hmm.
do that for to get like athletes, you know what I mean? Because I'm tired of the dumb jock narrative, you know what I'm saying? So my thing is to get people back in like athletes back into STEM, and using these scholarships for the right reasons, you know what I mean? Not just to be, oh, I'm going to school for business management or whatever. I'm not saying it's, you
Hmm.
can't utilize it, but I need more jocks. I need in my field, you know what I mean, in the tech field. So, so because I want my environment to be something I'm used to.
Hmm. That's interesting.
Okay. Okay. When you capture that, like, wow, people, it's not that hard. Like, you can do it, or they don't understand. What do you do to help them understand?
I mean, I try to say me, like I was a special ed kid growing up. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I was in special ed from kindergarten to until I graduated high school. So I try to use that as to inspire kids. Like, hey, you don't have to be a nerd to want to be a coder. You don't have to want to. You don't have to do none of that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just because you wasn't the smartest kid at school or whatever, you don't have to be that guy to jump into STEM. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm just trying to push people in the right way. So.
I will say the
Okay.
biggest thing that I hear about kids who, especially my clients, who don't want to go into something or don't pursue something, is that they're not good at it, or
Yeah.
it's difficult for them, especially
Hmm.
like math and stuff. Um,
Hmm.
and I will say that hinders them from pursuing anything, which of course we all know, especially, Doc, that you're
Well,
not good at
it,
everything right out the
it
gate.
also comes with a huge amount of these people aren't like me. I can't communicate with
Mm,
nobody. Nobody's going to help me. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
So it's
mhm,
it's kind of there's nobody like minded I can relate to. We don't, I
mhm,
wasn't blessed to have a mentor. You understand what I'm saying? And there's a lot of us
mhm,
that's like that. So it's like there's no mentors for you. There's your friend group isn't going to be into it. You know what I mean? There's nobody to have
mhm.
this communication with, right? So like even when I get hit up
Yeah.
for jobs now, like they'll ask me like, "Hey, do you know people that's in the field?" And I'm like, "Nah, not really." You know what I mean? Because my
Hmm.
friend group, anybody I would want to put in a position, they don't do what I do. You know what I'm saying? So there's that kind of psychological thing where um, I don't know that anybody else doing it. The football team, we're not doing that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or so that's just how it is.
Okay. And Tribe Called Harris would like to ask you any of you have any input on what Prototype is saying, and then offer any final thoughts that you may have. And we don't want to hold you hostage. We definitely appreciate that you swung through, spent some time with us. And for people to know why I played that quick game, Mr. Bennett called it the old newlywed game. Uh, I wanted to also teach or show how well do you know each other. That's like, do you ever have fun fact night with your partner? Do you ever do something where you get to increase your knowledge about each other? You could do like emergency scenarios. You can do whatever you want, but to know that your partner would actually have your back in a situation, and you don't have to worry about them and the situation because you understand each other just that much. That's another potential solution for building your relationships. All right, Tribes, what do you have?
I would not disagree with that one bit. And you know, again, practice makes perfect. You know, having the married friends going to the showers, the newlywed couples night, game night, like it really honed us in. But just talking to each other and knowing each other again, like I said, 3 is both our favorite numbers. Like this lady likes licorice. She likes licorice. She loves licorice. So you know, when I see the black utensil, it all just comes from knowing this woman, wanting to know her, loving to know her. And this is what it looks like. You know, people try to present that it's marriage that's the problem, but it's not. It's the quality of the people that are entering into marriages now. Marriage has always been the same. It's always going to be the same. So with that, what Prototype was alluding to, I think it's about priorities. What we prioritize, like I was telling you, you know, well-roundedness is something I hang my hat on, being able to talk on the corner, know what I mean, and get it popping. And I can also go to the boardroom and have an articulate conversation in a nice cadence and get some things done. So it's that well-roundedness. We don't have fellas that have their hat cocked to the side that know STEM, that can say, yo, shorty, look at my car, look at my girl. I don't sell drugs, I do STEM. This is the difference between us as men. You know, ask these men to crack a joke, break the ice. They can't do it. They don't have the je ne sais quoi Prototype. They have all the answers to the questions, but they don't have it. And this is what we have to do. You don't know how many kids in Bed-Stuy look at me like, yo, you look cool. Your girl look good. Your car. And I work. And I work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm not no flashy drug guy. I'm not no sports player professional. I'm a regular guy. And you can be a regular guy and drive a nice car and have a nice girl and wear some nice clothes and have confidence and cadence and articulation and be a regular guy. We got to show them that this is possible. But if they only see one type of man being celebrated or another type of man being degraded, they're going to inherently take that in. And they're not going to move in those ways. So, you know, we got to be more well-rounded as men. We got to prioritize as families more healthy solutions to professions, to our kids' education. And STEM is one of those choices. We were so proud when our child, you know, picked up STEM and picked up K-pop. They just showed us that they weren't going to be the redundant, stereotypical, monolithic Black children. And I think that comes from our consciousness, from putting nothing but books in here. And when they come home from the white man's school, they got to do daddy's Black man work. When you do a white man report, you got to write daddy a report. And you're going to get some knowledge about George Washington. Then you're going to come home and get some about Stokely Carmichael. So again, it's just the well-roundedness we don't preach to. We don't even check our kids' homework. Some of us ain't get past 10th grade to help them with 11th grade chemistry. So it's that consciousness that we speak to, the deliberate consciousness of having children and wanting them to have better than you. And until you do that, we'll continue to love your kids more than you do.
So to speak to that, right, even with doing the kids' homework, right, we have what are we, 72% single parent homes? We're already locked in weird situations where that other parent, they don't have that person to come help them do homework. You know what I mean? They don't have somebody to be compassionate enough to empathize, to have the patience enough to get through doing homework with your child. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't recall ever doing homework with my mother. You know what I mean? But I grew up in that single parent home lifestyle. So it's kind of always easy to throw that kid into like a special ed situation when they don't have that home support. You know what I mean? So nobody's going to love your kid like you're going to love them and give them the things they need. So if they're struggling with reading, nobody's going to help. There's nobody at home that help them that loves them to help them. It ain't going to be the aunts. It ain't going to be the aunts. It's that's your kid. You know what I'm saying? And men need to do a better job with getting how they want their kids to be raised and stop letting the system take control of the situation.
Thanks. Thanks for having us, Doc. Coach, always a pleasure. Shout out to you, Prototype. Shout out to Scam.
Yes.
Tyrus, got any partners?
Likewise. Thank you guys.
far as the gentleman, when it comes to you not having kids and choosing a woman, you got to court her well. You have to really understand if that's a role that she's going to honor for the long haul. Because once you start popping out them babies, it's a lifelong job. And I know a lot of women who it's exciting in the beginning, and then once those children start getting older, they push them to the fucking side. It's not about them. They don't care about their future. It's about their selfishness, their needs and wants. Even if they know that the child is better off with the father, they will not hand over that possession. And this is the world we're in. When there was a time where women didn't have a choice. Sorry, you leave, bitch, bye. The kids need to stay with the daddy. And that's how I grew up, watching those type of images where men ruled the home, men led the homes. There was families on the television. And if there were a single home, it was a father running it. The woman was dead, So fast forward 30 years later, we don't have any of that. There's no men leading any homes. There's no heterosexual love embraced in abundance. Like, the kids are not seeing that. So if we're not showing that to them in our real lives, they're definitely not getting it on TV. At least I can say I was lucky enough to see I Dream of Jeannie and fucking Beaver and, all of those, the Brady Bunch and, Full House. And I can go on and on. Silver Spoons. It was just a lot of shows that had nothing but family. And this society now, we don't have that. So, just try to hold that dear when you start having kids and family. Keep that in the forefront, that they are the future. It's not about our selfishness. And when we have to split, try to be co-parents, as best as possible. Because it's for the kids, So I can say,
Okay.
man.
Thank you. It's been an honor to have you. Again, those in the chat, if you have not already, please hit the like button here, but also take a trip over to the Harris Tribe or Cerebral Saturdays or Shame Sundays with the Harris Tribe and check out their content. Let me give you a warning before you get there. They're being polite here. They were being kind and gentle out of respect for the show. But when you get to their channel, please be prepared to have honest, deep, straight to the point conversation. And the reason I say that is because people get there and be like, oh, wow, and ooh, oh, you're so take heed to the message. The Harris Tribe and people like that, they get straight to it. And oh, should a woman be talking like, damn the woman, this stuff? I'm talking about real stuff, life-saving stuff, health, thinking, processing, psychology, living real life. So when you get there, be prepared for real conversation. Don't run from some colorful words. Hey, you two, be well. Thank you for doing what you do. Love you. Peace. Scam Likely.
What's going on? Late to the party.
Oh,
When I first come on, I heard the whole thing about trying to convince solutions. So I missed all the good stuff.
Oh, no worries. But here's one thing you did bring right off the top. Mr. Bennett just pointed out is the Beautiful Ball Tribe.
I know. I just noticed.
Minus coach, right? Minus coach, but it's the Beautiful Ball Tribe we have going on. So welcome, gentlemen. Yes, thank you, Mr. Bennett, for calling that out. Yes. What do you bring to the conversation, sir? Oh, you said you missed.
Yeah, I missed a major question. So,
Coach K, what would you say is the major question? Because I talked a lot, so my goal was to slow down. Now, what do you think is the major question? Most.
Well, you asked a lot of questions. Well, one of the things that I kind of asked earlier was kind of recognizing that there's more than one solution to, because on YouTube, especially in the channels we all, populate, there's always, there's like 5 main ones or whatever.
there's no solutions on the desk panel. There's no solutions. No.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Find the right woman or whatever. Go ahead, doctor.
Right. Well, I was just gonna say one of the challenges that there are more solutions than people realize. Some people are doing all this talk about they won't when they actually are already doing.
That would be me that says that. That would be me. That'll be me.
Mm-hmm. Or there are people who inflate things like doomsday thinking. and rah rah rah. And that, but is it really? So what do you suggest? Rah rah rah. Well, wait a second. It can't be rah rah and rah rah. Which one is it?
Can I offer a question to Prototype and Scam, and then Dr. Nakumbi, if you want to answer too? Why do we think that people do not want solutions? If we had to find some understanding, whether we agree with it or not, why do we think that they don't want solutions?
Because it's work.
It's a lot more detailed than that. The truth is that here's a real truth.
Mhm.
People want solutions because no one wants to lose. No one wants to lose. That is a fact.
Lose what?
In life, nobody wants to lose. Nobody wants to be a loser. The people who are losing
Yeah.
don't really want to stay the way that they are, though it seems that way. Again, we're wired as people who. Here's an example. I was in the Army at 18. I was kind of lazy, just in general, and didn't handle business in high school. I was damn near genius academically and just critical with all this stuff. Didn't handle my business. Woke up, friends got scholarships. Some friends are spoiled; they can stay at home and go to school. I had to grow the hell up. I'm in the Army. One day I'm in Virginia. Next day I'm in Washington. I'm in Oklahoma training. Then in Washington State. I had to grow up. So, because I failed at being proactive, I got forced into being proactive. So I understood that actual consequence in that whole process. But it changed my wiring to where you sling with a sledgehammer, and if you got a problem, you knock it out headstrong. A lot of people have different things that paralyze them during the processes. Low self-esteem is a big one. Probably 75, 80% of people have low self-esteem. A lot of people look in the mirror and see something that they don't like, and it kills them, it demotivates them. Diet, exercise, critical thinking lacking. They've been beat, shamed, sabotaged. All the negativity goes in their subconscious mind. And the default is to look for something, which is the first problem the person wants to solve is how they feel. Not the actual problem. So
that's the reason we do anything as humans is for feeling a certain way or to not feel a certain way.
And I didn't realize how strong that was when I used to have problems. I'm dealing with something. I used to call one of my best friends. He passed away a few years ago. He ain't had no solutions. He couldn't tell you how to do nothing, get out of nothing. But he could change the way that you were thinking, have you laughing, joking, whatever, and then you can go navigate the problem. It took me years to understand that was the important thing of emotional intelligence. And it cost me a couple of relationships with some great women, not knowing that very thing. But a lot of people are only looking for the thing to feel and lack the critical thinking or the aptitude to be able to go out and actually do the action. Or some of them are being misled, or the trauma in their life. They've been beat so many times or beat down so many times mentally, physically, that they don't even know what the path is anymore. Tell them, all you need to do is go get you a good man who does it. They tried to go get a dude who looked like me. Well, a little bit uglier than me, because I'm pretty good looking. 3 dudes, and then once when it was 21, once when they was 27, once when they 30, 3 shots, they're done. They're joining the Nation of Wigwam. They're done. They don't have it. Their brain is completely shut off to the real, to going over and taking that path. They're done. A dude who got divorced, took half that one time he went all in, and then you're trying to tell that dude, no, man, there's some good women, there's something out here. They're done. Out of their brain's done. They're damn near jumped off a building. So it's just not there anymore. Or whatever happened in childhood when it was 9, 14, bullied, talked about, told, why ain't you like your big brother? Or how come you're not part of this community? So there's some wires disconnected. Some people are looking for just a feeling. They don't even care if it works or not. They just want to feel this way and just get this quick fix. And that's it. So they come into space and you can trauma bond with some people. I hate women's too. It's the women's, the men's, the women's, the men's. And then you have what you want to feel, and you can get that fake acceptance, and that can become your reality.
Right. But then you have like prototypes.
Oh, now it's starting to come out. Now it's starting to come out. Now.
Shout out to J Speed.
Hey, what's up, RP?
Hello,
everybody. How you doing?
Go ahead.
But then you have like Prototype, who they're trying to mentor young fathers, and you might have men who are saying, yeah, I want to feel like I'm accepted and I'm good enough and I am that man. You give them all these tools and they just kind of fade out. They just kind of like, hey, you don't show up no more. You don't. So why is it that initial thirst for feel good, acceptance and all that, then they get it and then they just disappear? And I'm assuming you see that prototype. Do you see stuff like that? Is that fair to say?
That they don't feel like they're good enough.
What, or they get the initial, like you and your group met the initial need or desire they were looking for, and then they just kind of fade out.
I mean, there's a growing process for everybody. So of course, you got to figure out a way to, stay on the path, because everything's romanticized at the beginning, right? It's the honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
But staying dedicated is staying true to your idea of who you want to be and who you want to become. You know what I mean? Like, that's the difference. That's how you stay dedicated to that. But it's a long journey trying to get a hold of being a father and, making changes for, to better your life.
Okay. Cool. And then, so Scam, I just wanted to highlight that. Yep, I agree with you. There are people who say they want it, and then there are people who are actually offering it, and they seem to disconnect.
Well, it's
not
also, go ahead. Doesn't say also.
But just
the way it's offered does not. Oh, go ahead.
It's the hindrance is like the work, though. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to be like, oh, this is new, this is going to change my life. But when you have to sit down and be bored and work and learn, and apply and fail and do it over and over and over again,
it's uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable. It's discouraging. And then you not having nobody to look left or right to. Sometimes it can turn into a dark place. Nobody understands what you're going through. Nobody can help you. You know what I mean? So, discouragement, it comes from that.
Yeah,
We think something's wrong too when we feel that way. It's like, but we don't know that that's part of the process, which is so much easier said than done. Go ahead, Scam.
Partial example. I'm not a person lacking a bunch of confidence, but I remember, and I was math super genius. Always have been. Beyond nerd. English and reading and writing. I didn't like reading. I could write only if it was entertaining. I like cracking jokes and making silly stuff. That's the only writing I'd like to do. Went to the Army, came back. It's college time. I'd been out of school almost 3 years. I had the work ethic, but in high school, I wasn't the writer. My sister was. I'd pay her to do papers for me sometimes. And finally, I actually have to write. I asked my brother, who said, I know one formula how to write, and it's going to work for every paper you ever write. I was like, yeah, let me see it. And it was the truth. But I wrote my first paper in English 101. I got an A-. And I went and showed it to my sister. Man, this school is junk, man. They gave me an A on this. She read it. My brother is like, hey, that's an A paper, bro. I was so used to running from the work and believing that I couldn't write, or it's time to go run and go get somebody else to do it or whatever. I didn't know that if I actually sat and done it, that I was good at it.
Right.
A's, B's, no problem for the rest of college. I just didn't know. But
we do that in the gym too. We think we can't lift the weight. We think we can't lift the weight until the trainer's like, no, you're going to do it. And it's like, wow, if it were up to me, I never would have lifted it.
Yeah, I'm just saying that to the part of everyone does want to win, but everybody is different. Their path or what it takes for them to actually feel the winning and be able to keep going might be different. Mine was just, I didn't know I could write. All I needed to know was somebody tell me, hey, you can do this right here, and this is what you're going to get. That was all I was lacking. But everybody else might be lacking something else of what gets them out the bed and gets them to go and do something. And the hard thing, because everyone's different, including the person delivering the message, delivering the proper message at the right time to the right person, we're meeting them where they are, to where they understand it and actually get motivated to take action. It's not an easy process.
Right. Let me just jump in real quick to introduce our additional panelists. Welcome to the stage, R-Pain. R-Pain, welcome.
Going on, R-Pain.
3 intros. quick, and then we'll answer the question, or I'll ask you what did you bring to the conversation, but we're addressing the question of why do we think people don't want solutions? So welcome R. Payne, welcome Mr. Bennett, and welcome K Soul. So welcome
Hey,
everyone. Thank you for
guys.
being here. Just a reminder, this is the Black Man Unfiltered Network, and we are talking about solutions, Coach K and Dr. Nakambi. And we say, y'all don't want it, because when people try to give it, look what happens. So welcome. For those who are in the chat, please remember to like the stream so far. If you're here for the replay, please hit the like button, share this conversation with people who you think might like the conversation. It doesn't take but a second to press that share button. We appreciate you listening in, for being here. All right. What do you guys have to bring?
Well, you want me to go first?
Yes, sir.
I just
And
feel,
tell us about yourself too. A quick second for those who may not know about you, and a place to find you, so we can have at least 5 people go right from the channel to like your channel if they haven't
I
already.
appreciate that. Yeah, I have a channel called Marriage, Politics, and Sports. You can go look it up. And, I have like 113 videos over there now. I talk about everything over there, right? And it's funny that Scam Likely talked about writing, because when I retired, I like to write too. Then I found these YouTube spaces, and I said, well, I could just say what I want to say and put it on virtual wax as opposed to spending the hours writing. But the funny thing is, I was just thinking earlier, and I'll be real quick, about my stepmother, and I was going to write something about her today. And I think I'm still do it because I love that lady. And my mother died when I was real young, and I have another brother and sister that are younger than me. But I was just thinking about the time she used to come over to my house and stuff, and we used to sit down and she used to drink me under the table, but that's another story. But so I like to write too, so, and put those words together. But yeah, so Marriage, Politics, and Sports, I have a couple things over there that might be interesting. I talk about I got a series called Let the Women Tell It. So instead of me like talking about women, I let women say what they need to say to other women, and I just like clip it. I have a political thing over there about divesting from the Democratic Party. I got around 8 or 9 of those videos. And I have a sports show on a swivel at the sports bar. And I fool around with that. Actually, I've had that trademark for like 10 years. I didn't know about these damn YouTube spaces. I wish I would have. I might be somebody. I might be Stephen A. Smith Jr. by now.
Right.
But so I fool around. So when you're retired, you got to fill the void. And back to this topic. I think we got to be careful. I think in their own way, everybody wants solutions. They just don't have, a lot of people just don't have a pathway to get there. And then some people might have the solution they can't even recognize. Right. And, of course, all solutions might have some work, so there's no like wrong answers. And then the people who do a lot of social work and, for Black men, some guys who do Big Brother work. And for me and my family, I try to get their finances together. You can only do what you can do. You have to realize you can't save everybody. And even some of the people you save, they might slip. And then you also have to realize when you're on your quest to help people, they have to be willing students. They really do. That whole saying, when the student's ready, the teacher appears, that's real. Because people can't hear what you had. None of your noble stuff really matters unless a person is willing to absorb some of it. So that's just a short end of it. So I say keep trying. Do what you can do. Don't beat yourself up if you don't succeed, but just keep moving forward. That's all you can do.
Okay.
I'll leave it there.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Bennett.
Good evening, everyone. Good to be here this evening.
Good evening.
All right.
How you doing, sir?
Yeah,
If you would tell us, most people already know you, but just a quick blurb about yourself. And I'm trying to get this link up for you in the chat here. But if you have a link you want to throw in the chat and tell people, so we can at least get 3 to 5 people, to go to the page.
Hope that's the case, Soul.
Appreciate it.
Put all the bodies
honestly,
next to each other.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Hey,
first of
welcome,
all,
K-Soul.
thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for the segue. So, Brother K-Soul, good to see you again. Haven't seen you in a long time. But as you can see, you're surrounded by follically free men. And we extend an invitation to you, sir, to join the bold, the beautiful, beneficent, benevolent
Yes,
ball brothers of the BMU network.
you can do
So
it.
that offer is extended to you to join our cause, join our
Oh,
movement.
God.
The revolution will not be televised. So this is, as you can see here, this is, you're just surrounded here. So just join the cause, brother. Just be a part of what we're doing over here. It's great business going on. But so that's my plug for the network. But honestly, guys, you'll find me here. I mean, I do have my Instagram, Paul T. Bennett. Like I said, I'm Bruce Wayne all the time. So I don't have a handle. I don't have a fancy name. I haven't figured out anything yet. Find me at on Instagram, Paul T. Bennett, where I talk about fitness over 50, lifestyle over there. But more than likely, you're going to find me in these spaces on the BMU network. So I'm here on, usually I'm on Talk Tuesday. Now me and Trey F, where we've joined the sports show. So, helping out, with that platform over there. Occasionally you'll find me in this space here, and usually I'm on the barbershop on Friday. So I just enjoy being part of the environment and the platform that BMU has built for us to share views. And I just try to bring just my life and perspective to it. I don't think I have all the answers to anything, but I certainly share a perspective. And I think how a person gets to finding the answers is hearing a lot of different perspectives, not just, being in an echo chamber hearing one thing, but seeing how people argue and learning how to argue through simply just hearing an observation. And then looking at where their life is and then coming to something that may be able to work for them. Again, I'm a big fan of Bruce Lee, and he always talked about, absorb what is useful, discard what is useless, and absorb what is essential to your own. We learn a whole bunch of different fighting styles and whatnot, but you're going to find your style based on your height, your measurements, your physical gifts or abilities or lack of gifts and abilities. You're going to find something that works for you. So I just think just listening to a lot of different perspectives and take that back to your situation. I think that's how people, if they want to do the work to, implement a solution, I think they'll find it there. But just, everyone trying to be in an echo chamber, I don't think that's good for anybody. So that's always been my general approach to how to, look at your situation and find what's going to work. Because everyone's got something good to say, but not everything fits your situation or circumstance. So that's how I've always approached it.
Okay. Thank you. K-Soul.
Yes,
Welcome.
I just came up here to represent my hair having brothers out there in the world, because there's not enough of us represented up here. But I guess I don't know. I don't really have a long or cool introduction. I'm just a regular guy. I like to hide in the background and listen. When you listen, you learn a lot, and I just like to learn. So I don't like to speak as much. I do have a YouTube channel. I mostly do spoken word content and short of like these talking head videos where I discuss like those different pieces of content. And then I'll drop like random videos too. So I just like to have fun. But I came up here to basically say, I think sometimes when I watch a lot of YouTube content and people are offering solutions, it feels as though, and it seems as though the solutions offered are solutions that are aimed at the symptoms of the problem and not really the source. And I think the other problem is like the solutions offered are very broad, right? So we'll say something like there's a lot of single parenthood, so the solution is get married. But I think the solution is a lot deeper than that. And I think a lot of the solutions need to be aimed at mindset. And I think that that's the thing that we don't attack a lot. And then even that, when you're offering a solution to someone, a lot of the solutions are tailored to the person and to the situation. But it's like everyone's on YouTube, and we're so anxious to be this person who's like offering all this wisdom. We're so used to absorbing all this content that we usually end up regurgitating a lot of the stuff that we hear. That's why you hear a lot of red pill talking points or YouTube talking points. And even though I might agree with like the broader message, sometimes it's not really a real solution. So I do think that we could better, I guess, aim our arrows at certain solutions, and even in our real lives when we're doing things to help people. I think it's important just to realize, are you treating the symptom or are you treating the source of the problem? So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
Well,
that's good.
One challenge, because when I hear the word treat, I think of people who want to do the work. All right. So I'm coming to the show. I'm listening to the show because I want to do the work. Offer me some tools and strategies. When I think of people who just want to hear something like, yeah, we heard all that. Tell us the solution. How do you fix it? Give us a quick fix answer. Then that's
go ahead.
Go ahead.
50s, 60s generation, or whatever time frame, my parents' generation, critical thinking, not supposed to do that. Don't ask why, do everything because I said so. Their brains are not built to receive and do thinking past and create solutions to problems. It's just do this, stay in this box, and just go forward, and everything's supposed to work out. The newest generation is taught to find the answers. Got an aunt who's a professor. She grew up in the older generation, and she teaches college now. And they're so brained and so wired to just find the answers. If you don't believe me, go to Dunkin' Donuts, go to Walmart or somewhere, and come with the detailed thing that you're looking for. See if a 25-year-old or a 20-year-old walks you through the store or asks you 3 questions about what you're at. All they're going to do, aisle 6, or because all they hear is problem. They're looking for A, B, and C. That's how the brains are wired. So they're looking for quick fixes. So they come, click on a link. What's the problem? Modern women, single moms, on your purpose. That's all they hear. That's how they were taught. That's how they were taught. They weren't taught to do critical thinking. So older generation taught not to. They had it beat out of them. No critical thinking. Do what you're told. New generation could out critically think all of us on steroids in 5 seconds if given the chance, but wired to just follow a system and follow anything. So solution is a hard thing. It's going to be a hard thing to put into the people. And you got all kinds of.
How do you combine those? I'm sorry. I was just asking, how do you combine it then? So there's something for all.
It's a hard thing to do, but the most effective thing is active listening. Questions, listening, questions, listen. You got to find who the people are and meet them where they are. But I used to be very guilty of this. Me now, well, if you see me on dust panels, it's just whatever. I'm just acting a fool because most of this ain't serious anyway. But if I'm having a regular conversation, I'm looking for one thing that I can relate to the person that they can actually feel, they can actually understand, and they can hear. Something that came from them, their own words. The words were in their subconscious mind, into their conscious mind, to their mouth and out. They feel their own words. It's their life. So try to meet them somewhere where they are. Hey, remember when you said that 5 years ago you did this? What were you thinking when this happened? Ask them something relating to them. Meet them where they are. Because you can't go to a first grader and give them 12th grade work. It's not going to work. Try to meet them where they are and then try to help them navigate along with them where it is that you're trying to go, and something that they can see and that they can feel. Then that's just only a starting point. Then try to communicate with them. But in a lot of the spaces, 10 people foaming up at the mouth, yelling, ain't no solutions going on. Or
well, I disagree. That's their form. You just said meet people where they're at. So if 10 people are frothing at the mouth, then we're meeting people at.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna meet them where they are. I'm just troll them because that's where they are. Okay.
But is that going to be effective?
It's not. It's going to be effective for me.
Right.
But is that like playing on where they're at and expecting them to be different?
I mean, if it's a dust panel that's founded on dust, it's not about us. It's just we're just going to yell and do whatever. I came to the circus. I'm going to have a circus uniform on. I'm not going to have a suit and tie. It's a dustathon. Bring the dust. But if when the conversations ever do slow down and there's some talking, some listening, and something, because you only got a little bit to say the one thing to try to get to somebody because they're going to cut you off. But if you really hit them, or not necessarily hit them with a hurt, but if you really can get to something that they said, that they were speaking, and possibly that they were feeling, then you can probably get a response to actually connect with them because it's where they are. Like I was saying, a friend of mine who used to help me navigate through problems didn't have any solutions, but he can meet me where I was and redirect the way that I was feeling and the way that I was thinking. Now I can focus.
Maybe separating, maybe create a distance between, like, when you're immersed in a situation, you can't really think clearly. You can't really, the emotions are high or whatever. So sometimes even redirecting can give you that distance. That's why breathing, or, counting, things like that kind of creates distance between, the spiraling or whatever. I don't know
Right.
if you
Sometimes
felt like
comedy
that.
softens the mood for a real conversation to take place.
Oh, for sure.
5 people foaming at the mouth, slobbering. Somebody comes in with something funny. Once the laughing dies down, now you can open it up, go back to what it was they're saying they had a conversation. Sometimes.
What do you think, Dr. Anakombi?
I agree with everything that's been said here. But I also think, each person's reply really hits home with a certain population. Because to me, it all makes sense. Like, yeah, and that group would understand it, that group would understand it, and that group would understand it. When I think about your Coach K question, I think about your question of why don't, so we have 6, 7 people up here, different personalities, different approaches, different offerings. But why does it seem like universally we all, and I don't mean we're all going to be loved and accepted, but universally seems like people just seem to reject if they don't hear exactly. It's almost like a test. So what do you next? Like, why do people do that? Or I also say there's a difference in how you deliver something too.
That is true.
Right? Because Scam has said all of what he said without mentioning boomers and generations and da-da-da-da. Because those are hook words and trigger words for some people. So they can't even have the conversation without first then defending their generation. So sometimes the conversation, pending what you say, how you deliver it, changes everything.
It's them ratchet Gen Xers. That's who dropped the ball. Them Gen Xers.
The truth is everybody dropped the ball.
Do I sound like a robot, guys?
No, we can hear you.
You sound good.
Decent.
You good.
Welcome, sir.
That ain't the truth. Everybody didn't drop the ball. Them Gen Xers dropped the ball.
So let me tell you. Let me say this. I think going into 2024 and creating new content, I think that we should focus more on who's qualified to have the conversation. I think the reason that we have so much slobbing at the mouth and so many bad panels and so many horrible things is that people are not qualified to have the conversation. Let me give you an example. I'm married, right? 14 years in, right? I can talk about marriage, right? Dr. Nkumbe can talk about marriage because he went to school for that. Prototype Dad, Coach K can talk about that because she got her a bodybuilder husband over there. I saw pictures of him. I was like, damn, that's a big ass dude. But even as being parents, talking about parenting in 2023 and the struggles of being a parent in 2023, I can talk about that. I have 6 children. I have 3 boys and 3 girls in my house. And I can talk about, how I try to keep my kids away from pornography and keep them from bad things on their phones. And you try to put all these different systems on their phone to block different things that they can't see. Then they go to school and another kid whose parent is not as responsible have their kids' phones not blocked. So your kids can still, be enticed or tempted by it. And so I think that a lot of people do a lot of unqualified talking. I saw a lady the other day talking about she was a lesbian telling heterosexual men how to be husbands. You're unqualified to tell me how to be a husband when you're struggling to be a woman.
I disagree.
So I think that if you're not qualified to have the conversation, if you have not ever been a parent, how can you tell me how to be a parent? If you've never been a husband, how can you tell me how to be a husband if you don't have the degree to tell me that? Or a wife, if you're a wife, how can another woman tell Coach K how to be a wife when she's never ever been married before? Coach K, I think you should do this with your husband. Okay, what do you do with your husband? Oh, I'm not married. You know what I mean? Like, if some people are just not qualified to have certain conversations, and some people, when they be quiet, the unqualified people shut up. I think that the conversations would be better.
I disagree.
Well, let's get in Trey. Let's get in, hold on, just one
go ahead.
down. It's Trey F. Just wants to say, give him a chance to say hi.
And to all you ball brothers, I hope all your internet go out.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
Oh boy. That's because us ball brothers see we shining. We shining. That's what we do. So we take
That's
away
it,
your
baby.
light. I'm sorry. Just part of the diaspora. We just take away your light. I just been listening in, man. You know, it's been really good conversation regarding, you know, the marriage and importance of, you know, working things out within your marriage, looking at it from day to day and not, you know, based on other people's opinions or feelings according to what they would do if they're not in that situation. So I think it's unique, and these spaces need to be had more about, you know, because this is one of the greatest things that we could ever do to move us forward, is to find a way to unionize all of these 21 to 45-year-olds who ain't talking to each other, ain't getting along, but they sure are making babies the same. The numbers ain't dropped in the baby field, has it? You know, so we just got to find a way to get past that, man. You know, I don't know what generation dropped it, but I tell you what, crack sure did make it hard for everybody.
Gen X, they dropped it.
Right.
They didn't have anything to drop. Attitude reflects leadership.
Yes, the boomers had
Y'all started
Gen X
dropping.
a whole lot.
But I don't like bashing generations.
Right.
But
I'm a bash Gen Xers.
Attitude reflects leadership.
They dropped the whole ball.
Scan, what were you going to say to BMU's comment?
The qualifications thing. Okay, I grew up on Shame Avenue on We Know Everything Boulevard, the upscale Black community with the Black church, and then other people with money, people with this. And I watched all the people with the qualifications fall off into the dustville. The people who are really qualified, one, have a genuine interest and a genuine care. They're able to meet and they're able to communicate effectively to the people to navigate them through. A lot of things aren't even as solution-based as people may think. They're feeling-based. Without the feeling, without the connection, it doesn't matter what you say or how you say it or what your credentials are. People don't care about what you know until they know how much you care. And trust me, they know if you don't care. They smell it from a mile away. I watched this destroy. I watched a lot of that destroy people. I watched it. How come you won't be like your brother? I watched that destroy siblings. I watched, in this church, we do this. We dress, because I watched all that tell people that they don't qualify. They're not good enough to be who they already are. No, you got to be like this. You got to follow this because this is who I am. Therefore, I got this. You need to do that. 6 weeks later, hey, man, I saw you over there. Wasn't that you? Hey, man, I just pulled up your social security number and you were such as the manosphere. Every one of them with big numbers, lying. All of them. All of it is fake. About 90-something%. But they're saying, I got this. I got the money. How many financial advisors you find out getting broke or going to jail? How many pastors perving little boys and girls? But they're saying, I got this. How many married people keeping people single? They married. They grabbed their wife. All right, let's go beat up on everybody else that's single. Matter of fact, let's tell them all the dumb stuff that doesn't even work and keep them single. Single people bashing up them. It ain't what it is. But the conversations on YouTube, no one qualifies for anything, including me. I'm a certified Dustosaurus troll. Because if we really want to qualify, okay, yes, to married. But how about these 3 things over there? Yeah, this person's rich. But all right, well, look at your 3 kids strung out over there.
Right.
Everybody screwed the hell up.
Right. Again, can I respond?
Information from the married people is the worst stuff I've ever heard in my life.
I just want to respond though.
Okay.
Right, it's the worst thing you ever heard because you're not you're not a husband. You've never been married. You don't have any children.
It's
and
horrible.
Hold on. And you
it
get on here. Hold on. But you're a grown man over 40 saying, I get on YouTube to play with people, to laugh and joke around with people when they're trying to have serious conversations and be a troll. Trolling is not a mature thing for men to do. right? We can laugh and have fun, but at the same time, you have to be able to pour in. You can troll all day, but what are you pouring into? If you're not a husband, how can we sit here and down husbands? How can we down wives? How can we down children and how they were raised when we don't know the circumstances? We can't, if you're not qualified to have a conversation with me, Scam, like me and you, well, you're not qualified to tell me, hey, this is how I think you should raise your sons, because you've never experienced raising a child. You can't tell me how to be a husband because you've never been a husband. You can't tell me how to treat a woman because you're not married to a woman. It's
there
like
are no
this
qualifications
is
on
easy.
YouTube. The only qualifications have a mic that's working.
Okay, well,
If we had a qualification day, most married
Can I add
would
something
lose their
before we move
platform.
on? Can I add something before we move on? Because again, there's a modicum of truth in what BMU was saying and what Scam Likely is talking about. But the problems are we try to find absolutes. For example, I get this all the time. Rich, you don't know nothing about women because you've been married for 36 years. That's what people tell me. And I said, well, you know, my whole 36 years of marriage, my wife has never stopped being a woman, right? I worked for 38 years. I worked for women. They worked for me. I had women who were peers and everything. I had a short dating life. I know a lot about women. Just because I'm not trying to stroke them today doesn't mean I don't know anything about women. Your problem, Mr. Sir, is the only thing you see, because you're single, is that a woman looks like a piece of pork chop, right? I see more than that because I ain't trying to stroke them, right? So sometimes that gets missed when we talk to each other. I am qualified to talk about women because I've been around them my whole life. I got 2 daughters, and I talk to them. I have to know how to deal with them. So don't tell me I don't know nothing about women. I'm just not trying to stroke them all. I just got one. I'm doing that too. And let me tell you, my wife has not stopped being a woman for all the time I've known her. So miss me with that. So am I qualified to talk about women? I think so.
No.
You know, but you only can take that qualification, but so far, because I can't tell a woman how to be a woman. I could just tell you how I understand them. Right. So there's subtleties in the way we talk to each other. And I think we miss it because the other person is thinking you're trying to give them the whole ball of wax, but you can only give them the piece that you are qualified for. And sometimes people miss that. And that's how I look at it. So BMU is kind of right. But if he was talking to Stephen A. Smith says, I don't have to be a football player to talk about football. Right? So it's the same
But we'll
kind of thing.
respect Stephen A. Smith's opinion, though.
No. What I'm
His
saying
opinions that are
is
respected amongst football players.
That's your choice. It's optional. But in YouTube, anyone can grab a mic and say anything as long as they don't break the rules and agreement. And honestly, hell, y'all don't even follow those. So tell me, what are the qualifications on a panel where you don't even follow the agreements on YouTube? What is a qualification?
This is what I think BMU is saying. We need to move him forward. People who have the knowledge or experience should be the ones speaking to it. Doesn't mean others won't know the right words or engage in the conversation, but are we holding each other accountable for when people start inserting intentional wrong stuff or just changing terms and meanings and words? Stop.
Yes, they're doing that. They are
right. So,
it's almost like
people are there
go
for
ahead.
that. Go ahead, Coach.
You said you go.
Go ahead, Coach. Go ahead, finish, please.
Okay, fine. But I was gonna say it's almost too like it's some type of decorum and also like reading the room and just awareness, like and of course, again, this is a free platform, but at the same time, and I think a lot, this is like I actually don't even like the generational stuff, but millennials and Gen Z, but it's like speaking up when it's like, you don't do that. If there's a room full of adults, let's say, as a teen or a young child, you knew that your voice like really wasn't, it didn't hold much weight. So I think sometimes even if, let's say someone isn't a spouse, whatever, like I honestly agree with BMU, but let's say that it doesn't have to be that way. At the same time, if we are trying to facilitate constructive conversations and intellectual conversations, the bar is up here and people need to treat it as such and show up as such, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah,
I'm gonna introduce the last three folks here and let them say hello and their comments to what they bring to the show. We do have about 15 more minutes, so people can all hang in there because I like to have closing remarks to this after these three go. But, excuse me, let me add one more piece. So it doesn't feel like we moved the goalpost too much. The original conversation, for those who are joining the chat, joining the stream right now or the replay, we are talking about y'all don't want solutions right now. At this point in the conversation, we're actually talking about potential solutions, or as K Soul said earlier, is it really about solutions and how are we teaching that? And then looking at maybe people just want quick fix answers. I mean, K Soul didn't say this specifically, but I think after his comments, it opened it up to have us think like, so what do people really want? BMU jumped in and say, here's a possible solution. And right now we're addressing that comment about one potential solution is people who have the knowledge, education, wisdom, so on and so on. Those should be the ones having the articulate conversations. So we have joining us on the panel, Trey Ferg, Grooming and Reviews, and Lost in Translation. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If each one of you would like to jump in and speak to what you bring to the conversation.
I guess I'll go first. Thank you for having me on, Coach K and Dr. Nkumbe. I think the problem that I've noticed a lot in these conversations is that we're actually not really teaching people how to think for themselves. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to give a man a fish. It's another thing to teach him how to fish. And that's the one thing I always stand on. I don't ever want to be able to be the person that you rely on for all the answers, but I will show you how to think for yourself. And the number one question you need to ask yourself is, why do I want what I want? And it is that deeper question which will allow you to navigate to the answers that you need for yourself. Because in the event that I'm not there, you can still have a basis or framework to solve just about any problem. Earlier, I was listening to Prototype talk about the hackathon and how, nobody showed up for the 10K. But my thing is what he said was that nobody even came to ask him for help. That would have been the first thing I would have asked him, like, look, I ain't never did this before, but if you teach me how to hackathon, man, I promise you, at least I'll be in the running. You see what I'm saying? And then if somebody had took the initiative to do that, ask yourself, what is it that you want? I want the $10,000. Let me ask Prototype, how can I get that? Go to the person who has the solutions. Because number one, he's the subject matter expert. He's done this before. He knows what the requirements are. He knows where you need to end up. But the problem is sometimes we don't like to humble ourselves because we look at failure as something that we ascribe to our personality and who we are. Well, here's the thing. If we look at failure as a tool to get us to the place where we need to get to, then we would embrace failure differently instead of looking at ourselves as a failure versus the problem as being using failure as a catalyst to get us to the solution. Thomas Edison found 1,000 ways for the light bulb not to work. All he needed was one. So my thing is we need to learn how to embrace failure so it'll allow us to make sure that we get to success, but not give up during the process. So that's my whole thing. I wanted to make sure that we get to the point where we actually teach people how to think for themselves. And that's it.
Thank you. Lost in Translation. Oh, that was solid. Always good stuff, I swear. Yes, absolutely. All right. Who wants to Trey Ferg, did you want to add?
I kind of want to add Lost.
You want to go ahead, Prototype, and
yeah, I kind of want to address the think. Can y'all hear me? Am I good?
Yeah. Is it? Yeah.
It's a little shallow.
It's a little low. So I kind of want to address the thinking for yourself, right? I never found out to be a skill. I think that's more of a gift, man. Either you got it or you don't. I think more people are sheep than shepherds. You understand what I'm saying? So I just don't know how you can actually get people to learn how to think for themselves, because the people I know that were intuitive that way, They just had it, and I know like we share that kind of that mind frame, and it's easy for someone else, for like, you know, I guess anybody on the panel, it's easy for us to say, you just got to think for yourself, or you just got to be this way or that way, because that comes naturally to us. But how do you get somebody to think for themselves? It's just not natural to them like that. Some people are just sheep, and they're good at being sheep.
I have an answer, but I want to hear what Lost in Translation, what his answer is.
Let me ask you a question, Prototype. That's good though. I appreciate that. Prototype loves to give me a different way how to think, and I appreciate that because it allows me to sharpen my iron. Prototype, let me ask you a question. How old are you?
Just 40, baby.
Just 40. Okay, great. And at what age did you learn how to walk?
10 months.
10 months. Okay. Are you still crawling?
Never crawled.
Exactly. My whole thing is this: we learn by doing. You see what I'm saying? The more times we do something, the easier it gets. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't tell you the last time I crawled. You know what I mean? So how we learn how to think for ourselves is actually just by doing. You know what I mean? And just like, I'll give you an example. When I learned how to play the piano, I used to hate doing scales because I thought it was boring. It wasn't making a song. It wasn't doing nothing. But it wasn't until I realized that the purpose of scales was not for me to be bored. It was to build up my finger dexterity. And then after that, I learned how to read music. Then after that, I started putting it together. Then after that, I started writing my own music. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where you have to learn each step along the way. Everything that you learn doesn't apply at that particular moment, in particular time. But what you're doing is you're building up a catalog. You're building up a library of things that you can draw from. People learn how to do stuff all the time. So basically, that's what that means. You may not be gifted on how to think, but someone can teach you how to think by doing small bits and pieces at a time. Does that make sense?
Our brains are capable of doing that, but yeah.
Right.
That's good. And I like what Prototype, you know, your question, or, you know, your response, good. But also Lost in Translation. I think that was really good. I'll end it there. That was good. Trevor?
Yeah. It's 10 of us on this panel, and I'm going to start from age 18. Most of us, well, what I've seen over the last 25, 30 years, that by the time a young man come out of the home, they're already beaten down. They don't have the aspiration to go out and face the world and accept its challenges and build off of the challenges. One, of course, you know, by the time they turn 13, 14, had that big growth spurt. Mom, she doesn't really feel the need to focus on his character at that point. They're going to just transition into making sure he looked nice and he got the latest this and latest that without checking in with his character. And they're sometimes so defiant against the father that they won't even allow that relationship to build at that point. That's probably one of the most crucial times when that scrotum sac dropped from that boy. He needs to have that balance. He needs to have someone, and even if it's not the father, you know, if the mother chose a guy who's just out in the streets doing whatever, there are people in the community. There are people at our church that she goes to. There are some uncles, somebody, you know, somebody she works with. It can be somebody that can help steer him through those tougher times, who's a righteous brother. You know, he doesn't expect anything from her, but they're just so defiant to even give the child a chance to start regulating his own feelings and understand certain things at certain levels in life. You have to be able to accomplish them. And now here we are, we 30 years into this, and I cannot see a young man from age 21 down. He has no limitations on where he can go. He can travel the world by himself on his own dime. He don't need nobody's permission. To go from 21 to 40 with a life where you're not building with anyone, you're not in a foundational relationship, you're not building foundational children, you're not looking at saving a little money, buying a house, a hut, whatever, building your skill set up, whatever, it's joining the military, because we all look at it, we all in America, we only got a few options. You're going to go to work at Walmart, try to get you a job at Amazon. Then you got to learn a skill trade. If that ain't an option, you go to the military. If that ain't an option, you go to college. You got to choose one. There's no one solution, and nobody can tell you how to be the best version of you. You just have to take what is in you and not be afraid to ask questions along the way. Set ego aside. A lot of time our ego, get it, because not only are we having bad relationships, a lot of us ain't even going to the doctor. A lot of us ain't even getting the checkups that we need to live in the next half of our lives. So, if you want to get to those spaces, you have to take things in 4-year cycles. Every 4 years, you need to be reevaluating and checking in on yourself to get to a better place. You cannot just think, oh, it happened. Oh, you can't blame me as a man that didn't know your life growing up for your failures. Your failures are going to be a reflection of your bad decision or non-decision making that's going to affect you as you get older. All y'all, I hear a lot of guys crying about women ain't this, women. Yeah, women ain't that. So what? They had the same mothers y'all did. They had the same mamas. Their mamas let them do whatever. They're the same daddies y'all did. So how are you going to take control of your life at this point? Because we are in a critical situation in the world, not just in our communities. It's going to affect the world. The world is going to be totally different in 5 years. And if you're a young man or young woman, you looking lateral and not looking up, a lot looking forward, you're going to continue to go down this downward spiral. And at some point, when you age out at 40, 45, when you start going bald and start having to wear glasses and shit, and your hoo-ha ain't as popping as it used to be, and your breasts start hanging down, and your scrotum sack starts fitting over in your pants leg and shit, what are you going to do? Who's going to help? You have to take the time now while you're at your strongest and probably your most mentally strongest and challenging times, because there's no one correct way. And shout out to Mandrell. He said it last night, which I've always tried to tell the young man. You have to look at all 10 of your fingers, and you need to find a solution based off all 10 of your fingers. You may not need this one solution on your thumb today, but maybe 5 or 6 years down the road, as long as you got that in your tool belt, you can recall it, and it'll help you get past the trouble that you may be in today. And you better understand your decisions, what you do today, because we see a lot of brothers trying to figure it out after 20 years of being in the streets, selling drugs to y'all mama, to y'all daddy, to y'all uncle, to y'all big brother. So you got to look at that now, and now is the greatest time. The world is changing. America would not be the same for Black people in 5 years if y'all don't get a hold of yourself and get out here and start make things pop.
Hey, Trey Fur, I had a question. You were saying that for the young people, 18 to 40, I think, you're saying you don't understand what it is that they be going through. How come they don't have a relationship? How come they are the way they are? You're saying that you don't understand?
Correct. I don't understand.
First, okay. And I'm not necessarily trying to take a shot, but it's speaking more to the whole thing. Yeah, I'm not trying to take a full shot. But they say the married people are people we need to listen to. And go find the married people, listen to them. The first step in problem solving is identify the problem. You just said you don't know what the problem is. How you gonna guide somebody you don't know what the problem is?
I know what the problem is. I just don't understand why so many. Listen, exactly. I don't know what the problem is with certain individuals who really they don't look for solutions. It's a part of the growing process. There's no one book that will work for the mass population on how to be a great parent. There's no one book on how to be the best teenager you can be. You have to go through those experiences. And then once you go through them, you have to be able to evaluate where you could have made better decisions at. And then as you move forward, you cannot continue to go down those same paths knowing that it'll end to destruction. That's a lifestyle. That's the way you're actually thinking. Here's the thing, and I totally believe when you said meet somebody where they are. That's one of the biggest things that they teach in schools, social service. Meet a person where they are. Now, a lot of people don't understand this. If you meet me at a freshman, and I've been eating garbage for 15 years of my life, garbage, seeing garbage. I know porn, I know sex, I know drugs, I know all that, stealing, scamming, and you meet me, I have to expect that it may take by the time we get to your senior year for your light to come on. I can't just think that you're going to get it in a few weeks, a few days. I understand that this is a marathon. So when you come out of high school, I want to make sure, and I'm gonna still do my job to make sure I'm gonna give you all the options. And when I say go fly, you have to fly. And if you get stuck at one, you have to continue to try them all. Don't just, oh man, this ain't shit. No, because you may have to sit in a place for a year or two before you can advance. Just like in the military, you can't go in being no sergeant. You better put in 2 or 3 years and go through all the schooling for you to move up to that level. That's the same way in the civilian world. You can't go on a job and say, I'm a boss. Okay, look at your report card. I mean, you made all D's. Okay, I'm still boss. No, you got to go through this training. You got to go through it. It's just part of it. It's just part of life, man. It's just part of life.
Let's have Groomman jump in. Thank you.
Thanks. I'll make it short and sweet. I have a big belief is not how we fall. You can fall backwards all as many times as you want, but it doesn't help. You fall forward. As you fall forward, you see where you fucked up, and you can get back up and learn from your mistakes. Mountain Olympus is right there. You can go after it. It's not how you get it, it's when you get it. Every roadblock in your life is going to come past. I use me quitting vaping. I tried for years and years and years. I'm 8 weeks out by now. No nicotine, no nothing. That was the hardest 2 weeks of my life. You have no idea how bad I wanted to pick up that goddamn vaping vape. But I knew I was going back. Right now, I'm sitting at 15 pounds lighter. More motivated than ever. The only thing that's going to stop me is me. Need to stop making excuses. I know they always say, listen to your elders. But your elders are not always right either. If you had elders who was running the streets amok with 5 different women, with 20 different baby daddies and all this stuff, you're not learning anything. Learn from their mistakes. Don't always have to go to them. And stop looking for the answers in technology. Try to learn the hard way sometimes. Put it away. Get rid of your phone for a week. I challenge anybody. Get rid of your phone for a week. See what's up. Are you going to be able to survive without a tech for a week? Like the old school. I mean, like the ancient Greeks. Like sword in hand, digging away the old way. Are you able to skin an animal to survive? Are you able to survive off the land? If something, the worst case scenario happened, let's say we'll go to World War III and we can't get any supplies. Can you survive? I'll leave it there.
Hey, congrats on your progress, bro. Real talk.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Yes.
You know, I wanted to touch something on what Groom said. There's a statement that I always say to a lot of people: know your why, because you're not going to get up when you fall down if you don't know why you're getting up. You see what I'm saying? Know what motivates you. Know why you want what you want. You see what I'm saying? And the minute you find out exactly your why is, that gives you the motivation. And at that point, you'll learn to look for solutions, and you'll be able to be open to suggestions. And then after that, the answers will come to you. So my main thing is to know your why. Your why will show up in the darkest places. Your why will give you the light to come down the tunnel when you lose all hope. Knowing your why is very important. And I think a lot of times people focus on solutions instead of focusing on their why. So my thing is know your why.
Let me bounce off it really fast before anybody goes. I'm sorry to cut you off, anybody. The why is the big thing. I agree with Boss. If you have your why, my why is my mother. Call me whatever you want. I don't care. My why is my motivation. My why is my dog. My why is this. That why is the biggest strong. And I said this before. I'll say it one more time, and I'll go after that. The most dangerous person is not the lone wolf. Is a person who has everything. But the more dangerous than that is a person who has nothing, because he has nothing to lose. He has to fight for it. The person who has everything is going to be more dangerous than anybody else, if that makes sense.
Can I ask a follow-up question on that? Because I agree, certainly knowing your why is important. But a lot of times why a lot of people fail is because their wants are greater than their whys. And I've seen this a lot with guys. It's like, at your why is a cognitive function. But those wants, those itches, those desires, those temptations, those embers be burning, and you keep going back to those things because of the endorphin effect that those things give you.
It's the
But
lower
when you
brain.
know your why and when you want to pursue that, that oftentimes negates the why. Like most addicts know they're, I think a lot of addicts know they're addicts. I won't speak for everybody, but a lot of people know what to do, but they always go back to that safe place because it's comfortable and it just gives them that pleasure. So how, maybe, doctor, you can chime in this. So how if we can help people overcome that desire to go back to that thing that just feels good, even if it's detrimental to my health or whatever. Like I said, I mean, grooming, he can go back to vaping or whatever, and I pray that he doesn't. But I'm just saying that, but for so many people, they may fail. I mean, you got guys who've been sober for years, and then they go back to that trigger and it just gets them again. So how can we inspire, how can we help people to overcome those things? Guys I've mentored over the years, I mean, I can go to them. They know exactly I know what you're going to say. I know everything, but it's just that thing they just can't get over. So how would doctor, anyone else wants to chime in on that? How do you help people to overcome that? Because the why is the mind, but that feeling, that emotional, that whatever it is, that a lot of people just don't overcome that.
Can I answer?
Please.
And then I'm passing it to you, Dr. Nakumbi. I think to overcome that is to expect those urges to be there, and that for those wants to be there, and you're going to have to keep in your the vicinity, in your sight, your why, whether you got to write it down, whatever, because when those urges are really strong, it's going to almost outweigh and you're going to forget your why. But so expect those urges, expect the wants to be there, and come up with a plan on how you're going to attack it, because they will be there. Your willpower is not always, otherwise you're going to be white knuckling it. It's not going to be sustainable. That's a great question, Mr. Bennett. Dr. Nakumbi, what do you think?
Awesome question. A few things to consider. People don't always have the awareness of what's on the other side. It's like, it's not an experience they've had yet, or they've had some experience, they did well, and then they fall back to what they know. We default to what we know. I mean, that part's almost easy. And somebody was saying earlier, I think that was you, Coach, about to talk about the pathways in the brain. And that's like an automatic, we just magically go back to what we know. Resistance to change. Resistance to change is huge. People think I'm joking when I say this, but my population that I work with, see how many people can stop self-soothing. And that comes in many forms: cigarettes, eating, drinking, sex, self-soothing. See if people could just stop. Because we'll bash other people about, you need to, but yet they still get their coffee religiously every morning. You need to, but they'll do X, Y, and Z. Your generation, but we're still using the N word, knowing how many people died so that word is not used. So we talk, but the resistance to the change is huge. How many of us actually listened to our parents or ran the streets? A couple more things to consider. What is the emotional attachment, physical also, but what is the psychological or emotional attachment from the person I'm receiving from? If I don't trust you, if I don't believe in you, if I don't value you, how much am I going to really, and it may not even be about you. I don't give a damn if you like me or know me. Here, I'm trying to give you. But if I don't have that form of connection, that perceived value in you and what you offer, then thanks. But so I have to believe that there's a mutual respect, there's trust, because betrayal is the greatest enemy. And so I never know why you want to teach me, why you want to offer, why you want to see me do well. I'm used to being betrayed, so I have to have a sense of trust, belonging, connection. And then the last one will be lack of trust in myself. Coach K speaks to this, how what you were just speaking to. That lack of trust in myself. I don't know if I could do this. I don't know if I can do this. Double talk. See, you're not even, but you just said you don't know if you can do. I mean, I can do it, but no, I mean, but yeah, I don't know if I could do. You just said no. I mean, I can do it. It's just a loop, because of the lack of trust and faith. So for those who are more religious, when you lose touch with your higher power, it's a wrap. For those who believe in grandparents and parents are the higher power and do as they say, and you lost that connection, it's a wrap. And those who kind of on that solo mission, if you lost connection with yourself or lack of trust in your own journey, it's a wrap. That's my answer. Open to any thoughts. Mr. Bennett, did that offer any support for your question?
Yes, it did. Doesn't make it any easier for the people who have to go through it, but yeah, that's but it's definitely that's why I find more the just going back to your original question, it's like you want answers. And again, it's like I've done it, I think Coach K, you were talking about with the training. I've trained people, I can tell them what to eat, I can, certain things. I can't be in your refrigerator, I can't be around you 24/7. And again, there's certain triggers that, when stress comes on, a lot of times people just go back to the things that, that again gave them comfort. Food is a major comfort for a lot of people. And so it's overcoming that is something that, yes, you've heard a lot of success stories with it, but I don't think there's a book in terms of how to, how it works for everybody. And unfortunately, don't overcome those things. We have to be realistic about that as well.
I will say really quickly, the biggest thing again is because even with whether it's the gym or eating or whatever it is, I would say the majority of the work is in the mind, and it's because of those urges and that's what my coaching, that's what we call them, urges or whatever it is, like those desires, those thought errors where it's like, oh, it's just you deserve it, or it's just one, or whatever it is. But when you want that, because of course the brain wants that reward, it wants you to answer that urge. And really what it looks like is just acknowledging that you have that urge and that you feel that and that it is an urge. Just name it, label it, whatever, but just allowing it, which literally just looks like I'm allowing an urge right now. But again, and I want to offer to people, and hopefully this is encouraging, that any of the habits that you have right now, whether they're good or bad, they started from somewhere. And at first they weren't easy. It took a lot of energy, but the more that you did them, the brain was like, oh, this is a big deal. I'm going to, make sure that, we have this thinking, or that we have this neural pathway firing quicker because you do this a lot. That will eventually happen too with the new habit or going to the gym or whatever it is. Doesn't mean it's easy. I get it. But if you can hang in there, it will get easier over time. Hopefully that's helpful. But
let me add one more piece. I see we have the Warlock in the house. I'm gonna let you cook here in a hot second. Introduce you here in a second. Stimuli. I'm gonna go back to what Kay Soul said. It really hit home with me. Solutions, because if that's what we're talking about, then are we really getting to the foundation, the root, the source? So weight loss or anything like that, I'm working on a problem. I'm working on a situation. I have a few extra pounds. But the source of it is my emotional eating. And then even deeper than that, my inability to manage my emotions, and then my coping strategy for when I do have those emotions. That's more to the source. But I'm doing this temporary thing of working on the weight, but not addressing this over here. And that stimuli, I go into my theatrics and people are like, yeah, it doesn't work like that. But we all know it works like that. When session after session, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call you a bitch. No, I got it, and you didn't mean it, and da-da-da. Well, I'll do. And then the therapist, well, can you two promise to each other that you won't do that this week? No name calling. I promise, no name calling, and no name calling, babe. Oh, can I say babe? Well, yes, you two. Go ahead and say babe. It's okay, babe. At 2 PM behind these walls, it sounds fabulous. At 2 AM, bitch, that lands differently. The stimuli, the whole eating thing, the whole anger, people using sex as a tool. Happy, sad, angry, love making, fucking. It's the stimuli and being able to have coping strategies for each one of those senses. Each one of these senses: smell, hearing, smelling, eyes, hearing, taste. Doing a drug deal, and I'll land with this, and then get you, Mr. Warlock.
Sure.
I like that. I've not seen you have that name before. I like that. I don't have I thought I had my money on me. Just just a few twos, and just some. All right, I don't have the money on me, but cash. I go to do a deal, and I got that hairy change. And Trey, because you talk about crack often. In fact, I forgot who was going when I was like, "That's that crack." I forgot who was speaking, but I wanted to be like, "That's that crack." Trey was talking about. So I go to do my deal, and the sound of money, whoosh, the sound of the money, hardwired in my brain, crack. Or let's pick something else. Whatever deal I'm doing, donuts. The feel of the money tied in with the idea of the sugary donuts. Seeing the money that I'm about to buy this 12-pack of donuts. So already it's tied into 3 of my senses. And you can work with me all you want, and I'm pumped up and stoked up and da-da-da-da, but it just takes a simple euphoric smell to take me back. That smells like grandma's cookies. Boom. It could be 10 years. Twinkies. It could be 10 years later. And I don't know if you know, meth stays in your brain. Sleepy. 18 solid months, meth stays in someone's brain. 18 solid months. Okay. They do treatment for 30 days, 3 months, 6 months. It stays in their brain for 18 months. So even though they've been clean and sober, it can be 5 years later, they go to buy Burger King and they pull their wallet out, that muscle memory, already before they even get the money out, that muscle memory, like, whew. They go to pay and that money crisps, the sound, feel, blah, blah, blah. And next thing you know, I don't want to just have a Whopper. I want to get a hit. So those are the things we have to take into consideration about why people are not meeting expectations when it seems like we've offered them all the solutions in the world, but you just don't listen. You don't want this. Y'all don't want this. They probably do. They don't know how to accept it. They don't know how to deal with it, and they don't know how to sustain it. Brother Warlock, what's going on with you, sir?
Hey, good evening, everyone. How y'all doing?
Doing well. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you doing well.
Hey, I got y'all up here on 4K. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Good up here. Just want to let y'all know.
All right.
Yeah.
I missed the garage though. The garage was dope.
I do
Quite
too.
cold.
One thing with solutions, that people forget is Lost in Translation was going down the right outline. You got to really know why you want this. And then even further than that, you have to ask yourself, what do I want this for? Do I want this for me for the long term? Or is this just some short-term crap I'm trying to check the box on? Because your effort will absolutely dictate how you go about that. Let's be clear. Look at everybody on this panel. Did we not go out of our way to watch YouTube videos to figure out how to hook up the streaming stuff? How to make sure the audio sounds good? How to make sure the camera lighting looks good? People will find solutions when you actually want something, right? You will go out of your way to figure some crap out because it's something that you want to do. Now, a lot of the times, though, I think when it comes to solutions, is we're always looking for one reason why we do something, when in reality, you can have a bunch of reasons to do something. There is never one reason why somebody does something. For us men up here, there's not one reason we love our wives or our girls, right? There is multiple reasons why we love our girls, why we got on one knee and asked her hand in marriage. There's multiple reasons. There's multiple reasons we chose to buy that car. There's multiple reasons we chose to get a mortgage for that house or get a rent for that apartment or live in this city or go to that school. There's never just one reason. And so a lot of the times with the solutions, you need to just be able to pull those up. And I think it was Prototype had mentioned it before. You can't be scared to ask questions. And on top of that, we don't have to ask questions to other human beings anymore. You got ChatGPT for that. You got Google for that. You got Siri and Alexa. Guys, one of the things I do all the time is I go, Reggie, do you think about this? Hey, Siri, is this accurate? AKA, hey, Reggie, are you full of shit or not? Is this actually the truth? And then you have to actually be able to take that information that you just learned and apply it. You can't just take the information and go, well, it's not giving me the confirmation bias I'm looking for. So you just disregard it. Well, then the solution was in your face. You just didn't like the solution. So you claimed there was no solution.
Well said. Well said.
I like that.
Thank you. Well, listen, we can always go deeper. I would love to do just one round, Coach. I don't know how you feel about it, but I would. One of the things, like I said, I wanted to intentionally give pushback to every answer that was given, only to capture a small percentage, but a significant percentage of people who we feel like are holding us back from people accepting or being open to solutions. The naysayers. So I actually have an arsenal of responses that are clinically based, evidence-based, research-based for every one of you. If you don't mind, I'd like to play roulette and have each one of you offer me one solution or one thing that you think I should be doing, whatever scenario you could think of, or what do you think works, or ridicule about why I'm not doing X, Y, and Z. And if I just did X, Y, and Z, how it would be better. If you just give me one comment, I'm going to fire back, not to you personally. I'm firing back to the idea coming from the mind that's either been dealing with disbelief, hurt, betrayal, broken promises, stuff like that. Whoever would like to go first. Coach, you cool with that if we run through that?
Yeah.
Okay. Because we say solutions work and we got all that. I mean, we got the answers and people should just go through.
Well, doctor, what do you want a solution to?
I don't want a solution to anything. In fact, you think I need a solution, not me.
Hey, doctor, what's currently ailing? What's your biggest pet peeve? What's ailing you today?
Yeah, I don't know. That's that old talk stuff about pet peeve. I don't really have any pet peeves. I mean, we all have things we don't like. Isn't there things you don't like?
Absolutely.
It's a pet peeve. I mean, I don't get it.
Yeah. But what do you not like?
Yeah, hold on, because what I don't like is that I've asked everyone in the room to give an answer. You're the only one speaking. Because if I didn't ask this question, everyone would have a mouthpiece and something to say, and go forever and forever and forever. Now, when I put them on the spot, they don't have shit to say. So maybe their answers aren't as up to par as they pretend.
But I missed the part of the question.
Yeah,
can you rephrase the question?
I missed the part of it.
Answer the thing.
So there's a percentage of people that when I listen on YouTube and they say, why are people not listening? Why are people not inviting? I said, there's a small group, and this is where I think BMU was going with it. people should only be speaking to it if they have something to bring to it, some experience, something, because if not, people intentionally throw in this additional stuff. They throw in poison. They throw all these kind of ideas because of their bitterness, because of their feeling betrayed, dealing with broken promises, dealing with mistrust, all those experiences that they had, that no matter what you bring, all of a sudden it's a myth. And all of a sudden it's not true. Now, there are some things that are absolutely not true. Correct. Not all Black people are going to just go crazy and need not stop. So there are some things that are just not true. But I'm talking about the people who are so fragile and so defensive that they'll just shoot down every possible solution. I want to give you what's under their hood so we have a perspective, so we understand that they're not doing it on purpose. I'm not excusing them.
But you don't know if they're not doing it on purpose or not, though.
I don't know if they're doing it on purpose, but I know this. I know
Sometimes
how
I
the
do it on
psyche
purpose.
works. I know how the psyche works. I'm not talking about
Right,
people coming
and the
trolling.
solution to
I'm not talking about people coming
BMU's
trolling.
problem, let me stop you. The solution to BMU's problem about people not being qualified, just don't let people unqualified on your panel. You want to talk about women, just put women up there. If you want to talk about married people, just have married people on the panel. That's the solution.
Correct.
That's
to
a
what
solution.
BMU was saying, but I was asking a different question. I appreciate the flare though. See how we just flared away from the original
I
question?
thought that's what you wanted. Or that's not what
No,
you
sir.
want. You know,
No, sir.
No, he was playing a character. That's
Yeah.
what that was.
I'm
I
still
know
in
you are.
character.
I know you are.
Yeah. I want any possible idea, solution.
So if I understand it right, you are, I guess, in character of a person who has gotten the last 3 years worth of YouTube talking points, and it's to the point now where they are not seeing the benefit in any of it. They're tapped out. They don't want to listen to anything, or they don't think that there's anything in these spaces that is of benefit to them. So what will we tell that particular person? Is that, am I getting to, is that what your question is? How would you address someone who, after 3 years of YouTube talking points, is just as confused now as when they first got on these spaces? Is that, do I understand that correctly?
Kind of, but you know why I don't like your question?
Okay.
Why do I have to be tapped out? Just because I don't.
No, I'm
believe your ideology or something,
I'm
why
reading
does
the
that have to be
energy
tapped out?
in which you phrased the question, and you sounded like someone who was just again frustrated with
I'm not frustrated.
all of the
I'm
chatter
not
that has
frustrated.
gone on, and you're at a point that I'm just reading energy, bro. So
So
again, I'm
they're
just
a
going off what
person
you told
who doesn't want solutions, right, Doc?
Well, I'm not saying I don't want solutions. I'm just trying to say
That's a presupposition.
I'm not
I
saying.
don't
we
get
perceive
I'm not
that
saying
at all.
I'm frustrated though.
I didn't get that
It's
at all.
disingenuous to assume how I feel and to tell me how I feel. That's why people get pissed off when people tell people how they feel.
You and theatrics.
Now, right now,
I thought that's what you said. I
Right,
thought that's what you
pause.
said. So,
Right, pause.
all right, so then
You notice
clarify.
right
So then,
now, I'm
so then
focused.
clarify what you meant then, because that's how I perceived
Yes.
it. So help me understand your point better. Then rephrase.
I love that. So, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you caught what Mr. Bennett just did. I was intentionally shooting this flare. How many times have we watched where someone just locked in on the word, locked in on the field? I'm not. No, you said I'm frustrated. You said I'm frustrated. No, blah, blah. Coach K jumped in. No, I just don't like the fact that he said I'm frustrated. Had nothing to do with the question. It was a very good question, but I'm taking it so far left, not on purpose. I'm really locked about. So what looks like, see, you don't want answers. You're still talking the same stuff of 5 minutes ago. And it appears that they're locked. But some people get emotionally triggered for real, for real. I think Mr. Bennett's question allows me the space, and we don't always have to kiss it. Oh, well, I'm sorry. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the part when you said, well, then tell us what you tell us. That part. Tell us. So again, I'm just pushing back on purpose. So back to character. Yeah. So I'm not going to tell you because I already said it once. I'm not going to keep repeating myself. You need to clean your ears out and get it figured out. I've already answered once.
So then we're not going anywhere because I'm still confused about what you're asking. So we can we can stay in this position and we can go our separate ways, or we can start again. I'm willing to stay here.
Yep.
And let's start again and let's start this thing over if you're willing to. But if not, I bid you a good night.
I appreciate that. I'm just happy you took ownership by saying you don't understand. At least we know who's the one that has the lack of understanding. I appreciate your ownership. I respect that in you, brother, for taking ownership that you're less than. Cool. I still love you, though. I still respect you.
That was some serious sign language right there, but okay.
I'm being quiet because I just want to troll, so I'm gonna just be
Yeah,
quiet.
yeah. But see,
well, doctor, based on your wonderful understanding, what is your concerns in the future consuming this content?
here we go with this shit. Y'all hear that? About the y'all hear what? Dude, what? Where are you coming? Like, damn. Are you trolling?
No, sir. That's a legitimate question.
But I'm not. Come on. What future? What future? What future? That we all going to turn into one type of, which is one gene? I mean, what future? We're talking about. He's going to some future talk. I'm not even
The
talking
future you envision.
about. Yeah.
What do you want to happen with that future?
All y'all be gone. First of all of y'all be gone. if
Does that include the women you can't get?
Well, those two, because you know what? Look, I'm not even gonna get started about them. I'm not even gonna get started about them. Side note, my goal now, as I see, Mr. Bennett did it too, but when I just shut down right there, if we caught that, like now when I come back, it's going to be harsh attacks to reduce the other person. Because right now I felt reduced. Right. And you hear the voice was you were nice and calm. I mean, no, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking you about your future. Whoa. He's asking about me. Remember, I'm talking about a select group of people, not all. Well, shit, we always got to talk about me. I mean, I think that's a setup. First of all, we always got to talk about me. I'm always the one. Hint. I'm always the. What's that a sign, Coach K? I'm always right. I'm always the one that has to. So right there, gentlemen, ladies, we're not even on the same playing field in the conversation right now. We'll spend 30 minutes in YouTube space arguing right now when we're not even on the same page right now.
Doc, what's your opinion the best way to diffuse a conversation that ends up going down that route? In your opinion, what's the best way to diffuse that?
That's a good question. If you really want my opinion, hit me up in the back channel here. Sorry, Coach, I heard
you.
Yeah.
Why not join in?
Medic, what's up, Lou Medic? What's up, Lou Medic?
Hey,
You
Lou
came
Medic.
just in time. We were looking for some medics to help because I was slicing and dicing every little thing that comes my way. Only speaking from a small population of people who don't feel heard, don't feel acknowledged, don't feel understood. And when I try and do something my own way, I get pushback. I get told I should be doing what I should be doing from 60 years ago, 80 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, when y'all not even hearing what I'm saying just 10 minutes ago.
One thing I want to say is let's take, maybe certain people come to mind when, we're thinking of those who act like this, or even like Dr. Nakumbi's theatrics remind us of someone or whatever. Let's say, keep that person in your mind. What they're doing is neutral. Let's say it's not positive or negative. They're just doing it. They're just being. How do we want to think about it? Like, how do we want to interact with them now? Because it's up to us to decide in that moment. It's not positive or negative.
Well, since a lot of it just depends on your, I think, your expectation. Like this, sometimes my daughters just need to vent. Like they're not looking for an answer from me. They just need to vent. So as long as I understand that, okay, so this is, you just need to vent, then that lowers my expectation of trying to intervene or try to save the day or try to come up with an answer. So I'll give you sometimes you just give them the floor, and then once they've had the floor, now I say, okay, can I say something now, or would you want me to address your issue, or did you want to do that, or do you want to get together at another time? So I think you still have. I think for me with my daughters, I still try to hold them accountable to allow them to express, but then also set an expectation that, okay, well, when do you want to discuss? So I think that's helped me in that situation. But sometimes people just, want to be heard and just want to get stuff off, and they don't want your 10-point solution. Sometimes just let them get it out because no one else is listening to them.
Ara was just saying that too. Ara in the chat was saying sometimes people listen to give you an answer quickly, not even listening to your whole thing, listening just to give a reaction.
Hey, Coach K, based on what you just finished saying,
Mm-hmm.
have you ever run into a situation where you actually was able to break through somebody who maybe had that doomer mentality, where no matter what, there was always something? Have you ever been able to break through someone like that?
Absolutely. That's honestly my favorite.
I have temporarily.
My
Not
favorite
long-term.
thing. It's because it's just a mental trap, really. I mean, it could be with anything, but if we're stuck in that thinking, asking them a question, or really they're asking their brain a question, well, the brain at like a computer is going to give you an answer. So if you're not used to asking questions that are going to warrant a positive response, then you're going to stay in that doom and gloom. So that's why sometimes I will just ask them, for example, when I was a server, people didn't want to ask for help because they thought it would make them appear weak or whatever. And I asked them, well, what do you think when people ask you for help? Like, what do you think about them? They're like, oh, I just want to help. I'm like, maybe, perhaps people feel the same way. Maybe not, but if you approach it with that type of lens, you're more likely to ask for help and get a better outcome than otherwise. Hopefully that helps.
We'll get you in a second, Lou. Still, we caught us right in the middle of masterclass. Coach, when you said, think of that person you know. So, gentlemen, when we're on these panels, hint, hint, you have that person really going into it. What's happening? And you don't have to be doing therapy or even sound therapeutic, but
curious.
I'm curious. No, man, because listen, I have a cousin. Say it again. I have a cousin. So I got triggered somewhere in the conversation, and I brought my cousin into this conversation, which then we are now flared over here. But what Coach just had us do to, yeah, I do know. And so my challenge moving forward into the new year, how do we eliminate 40 minutes of arguing and back and forth and getting caught so that their rocket takes off and you get hooked and just go to the sky with them? So I love what Coach, I just want you to capture what Coach said and how we all pause like, oh yeah, I know. And we know who we don't want to be like and what we don't. How many times have we missed the whole show? Like, damn it, I lost my whole point. I snapped or I sat quiet, hostage.
Yeah, sometimes people will talk through you instead of talking to you. They're too busy talking to somebody else who they can relate to instead of actually talking to the person that's in front of them. And
Well, even kids, I mean, how many times have we seen that? It's almost like the third eye. It's like literally the person is, literally their eyes are looking as if they're looking at the person that they have to disagree. I'm like, are you got transported to another place, but literally it's like, you're like, that person's right there.
On the panel, thank you for coming out.
You guys can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, sir.
Yes.
All right, awesome. Just glad to be here. You guys are smart.
No. We're in this together.
trying to help people get through something or trying to help people to succeed at something, I think you have to be a very, very good lens where people have they kind of have the right thing to say. They kind of have this whole script to make themselves to be kind of keep talking and keep talking and keep talking. And I'm probably guilty of that myself. You know, eventually the real person comes out, the real desires come out, and that's when you can really start real with you. And sometimes that comes in the heat of argument too, you know. And if you don't have that, then you're the regular cookie cutter type stuff, you know. But once you got past that part, then you can kind of and if it didn't work for you, then find some model that where it worked for them, you know, connect them with those kind of people. But my thing is fake, where people start becoming their real selves, because you really can't help anybody if you're at that nip. So.
Matt, I don't want to change your word, Matt. Add to your word about the fake part. That's the guardedness. Some are bullshitting and fake, and we wait till that kind of crumbles. As if I were to add the word, I would also say some people, and we kind of have to wait till those walls fall down.
I guess you're right. You don't have to, you know, necessarily be fake. Some are, some aren't, you know, but actually care about the person and care about their success, because each person is going to come with their own individual. Suspecting a lot of us on the panel are not necessarily people that was the most popular person in our classes, so we might have been the most inventive person in our class, but we end up getting put in a box or pushed to the side. That by itself will kind of make you put up your guard for that first initial encounter with.
Okay, thank you. Coach, I want to add the piece about evidence. I know you speak to what to take off with that thought. But I notice sometimes in YouTube streets, people certain mentality, they really, you know, something they bring with. We all do. We all do. But I mean, some do it and they don't understand that they've been triggered. They're reactionary, and then they're more into a traumatic episode than behavioral. What do you say about those who really believe that when you said Christiana, now I ain't gonna be talking about my mama? What, dude? Now there's a portion of people that laugh. Ain't nobody said nothing about your mama. And the second someone's trying to console me, the third person on the panel goes, "Oh, he said your mama." So now I can't get past it. So any suggestions for when content providers or hosts or anyone on the panel,
when they themselves are dealing with it, or when someone on their panel is dealing with it?
Either I'm a guest and I got whoa, did you just say my mama? Because I was serious about let's say I was serious about my question, that whole platform gets left. Because now I'm over here talking about mama. No, I was serious about my question, mama. Boom. Now they take the conversation. So any suggestions on helping with when people spiral with no evidence to why they are spiraling? We think there's no evidence.
Right. For now, think about a time that happened and maybe do some inquiry. What was going on there? What was said? And what was going on there? What was it about your mom or Christiana or whatever? What was said? Why? Things like that. But it happens in the moment after you've created some of that awareness. You might have to take a second and leave and process not your responsibility that trauma happened to you, but it is your responsibility with how you deal with it now. The stream is being funky, but yeah, I would say, what was that trigger? Where did you feel it? Like, when you're worked up, finding the feelings, where you feel them. And again, be curious what's going on there. And then obviously what comes up.
Sorry. Does that have to be resolved on that, like that show? So I'm feeling it now, like on a Monday at resolve right now on the show. What do you suggest?
No, absolutely not, because you may not too. I would say, you can be okay feeling that discomfort.
Yes. What's the phrase? Comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah, get comfortable. And I think David Goggins says that be comfortable being uncomfortable. These feelings, how we think we're gonna feel is so much worse than what the feeling actually feels like.
Right.
Like thinking about being humiliated. Being humiliated in the moment does suck. It doesn't feel good. So,
right.
Those are
I'll
great
land my
questions.
plane with this thought. Part of what you're saying about being aware, we also have our entertainment, right? Not every stream is about this. We have our entertainment where we are going to talk crazy to each other, so that makes sense. But if we're doing a show of particular content, if you folks on the panel here are doing a show of particular content, when we talk about solutions, one offer is to remind them, what did you come up on the panel for? What are you engaged? What was your intent in the conversation? Mm-hmm. No, because I was trying to have a serious conversation. Well, we weren't. Boom. Already right there. Yeah. But many times, we'll align like we both were meaning a serious conversation when we weren't, or we were all aligned like we were playing when one person. So again, knowing that your show is meant for entertainment or whatever, if you have a flair, I think one of the solutions is to double check what Coach K said. Ask, hey, what's happening right now? If it's not for the entertainment piece, because I don't want to minimize that. I don't want to suggest that people are like, oh, pause, hold on for a second. What's wrong, Smuckatelli? You done got sensitive now. What's going on? So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when we're having real conversation. And real is another word we throw out there too. So let me take that back.
You're right.
When we have select conversations with a certain intent, just be more clear on that and help. All right. So let's do Any other questions about what we just said from anybody? Questions about what Coach K and I just offered? It's not written in stone. It's just a perspective. Any questions about it? Fabulous. Let's do closing remarks. Whoever, Coach K, you want to do the order, and we can end with loss in translation.
Yes, we want to start at the bottom then, or
sure. Lou Medic, you just got here. Do you want to go first, or you want to sit for a minute?
I can just sit for a minute.
Okay, cool. Let's
you pick.
Warlock, you want to go? I like that name. Do you mind if I call you that? I like that.
I do like that.
Yeah, cool. It's one of my things. First of all, great seeing you guys. Panel, good chopping it up with you guys. I'm gonna be on a little bit more. I finally got some free time now. Transition to the new crib.
Oh yeah.
You guys really gave me a lot to think about. Coach K, Doc, the panel, the conversations, like the de-escalation tactics. And as a matter of fact, just to be straight up, like, Doc, when you went over that scenario where people would harp on a word, I know for a fact I was that guy on the panel that would harp on a word. Right. And that just gave me a gut check, like something I got to think about. And then Coach K, how you press on regardless of how doom and gloom it gets. You just try to figure out that little crack. That's that effort that sometimes I even lack. Sometimes people get to the point where you're just like, man, screw it. What's the point? But what you're basically saying is, when you get to that point where you go, what's the point? That's their confirmation bias. See, there's no point. So just want to tell you guys, I appreciate y'all. Y'all gave me a lot to think about. Y'all have a good evening.
Thank you for being here, Teresa. Seriously. Have a good one. All right. Trey, I guess we just want to go.
Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah. I think, even in these conversations and conversations of the past and conversations going forward, I think it's offered a really, really big platform for people to really just start looking at their lives, where they are for themselves, and move accordingly. There's so much information out there to put yourself in a better place, whether it's physically, mentally, financially, relationship wise. You just have to choose your best option, try them out, and if it doesn't work, don't be afraid to either ask for help or try other options. That's the thing about life. It's a journey and a marathon. It's not a fast race, because as you get older and you look at your decades, from one decade to another, you're going to think different. You should be thinking different. You should be moving different. And I don't know, other than that, you can't let other people's misfortunes or ideologies and mistakes people made in the past really affect you going forward. You have to learn from them, the good and the bad. My father told me something the other day. It's my last thing. He said, I taught you a lot. I said, but Daddy, you never showed me. He said, but I showed you not what to do too. I said, how'd you do that? Because I was doing it, and you said and made a choice not to do the things that I did. And that was just drinking and smoking. My father drank. He was alcoholic since I can remember, but I never drank. He smoked since I can remember. I tried to smoke a cigarette one time when I was about 8, turned green, never smoked it again, never touched it again. But I still have way more health problems than him. 4 strokes, 2 heart attacks, about two things of cancer. And I'm now getting to a point in my life where my body's starting to just break down for the effects that I've done as far as military and sports like that. So, but I still have to make the choice to do the right thing for myself and my family going forward. That's the only way I can protect my family, is being here and being productive in my life, so those that come behind me can see the work that I've put in. And, other than that, man, life is beautiful, man. I appreciate y'all, the panel, everybody, all my bald head gang. We always strong. That's what we do out here in these streets.
Thank you, Trey.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks for
Thank
being
you.
here.
K-Soul?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't like the way y'all rub your heads after you say that.
Oh man, huh?
I noticed that too. It's like a cult.
It's like a gang sign. All right. So I don't have a lot to say. I think a lot of people have said a lot of very profound, accurate, and insightful things. I would say, just to repeat what I said earlier, when you're giving a solution to someone, your goal should be to pinpoint what you are giving a solution to, instead of just trying to like throw out solutions because you have all this wisdom. And you can have a lot of wisdom. You could be right about a lot of things. But I think even before you get there, and a couple of people mentioned this, I was going to say this, they kind of beat me to the punch. But I do think that a big piece that people are missing is making genuine connections and just being genuine in general. To hop up on a panel and to address someone's personal life a lot of times, because this happens all the time, without even making a connection with someone and then wondering why they're not receiving it and thinking that people just don't want solutions. It's like, no, they don't know you. One, you might come off aggressive. There could be a lot of reasons, but making that connection could be key to actually, having people accept what you're saying. And I think even before you even get there, I'm gonna go back to what Lost in Translation said. You have to start with your why. Why are you coming up on the panel to speak, right? Are you coming to offer maybe some knowledge that people don't have? Are you coming to give someone some smoke? Are you coming to brag about your accomplishments? The why for me would be to understand others. And I think when you start with understanding, and when you're seeking to understand, when you get in the situations that, the doc was describing, a lot of those things aren't going to affect you, because when someone comes at you a certain way, your next question is going to be like, okay, well, why? Or why do you think that way? Or why is this the thing that you do? And then from there, you can kind of build that connection and get to the solution piece. So yeah, that's all I have to say. So this was an amazing, amazing panel tonight. So I appreciate y'all.
Thanks for being here. Good to see you.
Sharing this space with you. Appreciate you. Coach, is your pick the $1 million ticket?
We'll go to Mr. Payne.
All right. I had a feeling you was going to say that. That's good. Let the brainiacs go last. Anyway, listen, I have a couple of things. One personal and one general. One, I think we should have but it'd be nice to have like a panel facilitators school, because when you start a panel, you're actually the facilitator. Right. And so the truth of the matter is, you got to determine what is the theme of your stream. And that'll dictate the kind of people you want to bring up, what kind of conversations you want to have, or are you even looking for solutions? Right. Or you just want to chop it up. I mean, it's so wide. So if you know what I'm saying, you got to pinpoint what you want out of it, what you're trying to accomplish by a particular stream. That's the short and long of it. Right. So if we're just chopping it up, great. If we want to solve some problems, then that's the theme of the stream. And it's the facilitator's job to keep it on point. And now that's a skill, by the way. It's not like, anybody could do that. It really is a skill. So it's something that you can learn if you really want to do that. So I'll leave that there. But one of the things that I really like about coming on YouTube, and I didn't think about this when I just started to kind of fill my void as a retiree, these panels make me reflect. And it's amazing how much I remember the kind of situations I was in when I was a young man, and how I got out of them and why. And even though I couldn't articulate those thoughts way back when, it's more clear to me now on why I traversed my experiences the way I did. And it wasn't all happenstance. And I don't even want to say this, but man, I was a pretty smart dude. I swear. I said, man, how did I get out of this shit? And, it wasn't all me. I always, I'm not an overly religious guy, but I always knew that I always felt that the hand of God was with me, because it's always that choice. Are you going on this way or that way? And somehow I got to where I am now. And my reflection on my relationships with ladies, my relationship with my wife, my relationship with the fellas in my life, and all that kind of stuff, it's like, wow. You know, so I'll leave you this. Everybody should reflect on their lives once in a while. And it's because it kind of informs to how you are now, today. How did you come to the person you are today? And sometimes when you need to think about that. And I do. So I have fun doing that. But I wasn't perfect, of course, but that's what I did. So let me just land it there. Oh, thanks for letting me up. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for being here.
Honored to have you, sir. Oh,
that was good.
Arpain. Sorry. I said it on one of the shows. I'm not sure if you heard it. Awesome facilitating job on your Monday show. You had people up there talking all kind of left and right, and you're like, yeah, hey, we're not trying to do that right now. Now listen, but I was dead serious when I gave you a compliment. I can't remember what night it was. I wanted to give you your flowers and tell
It's
you
like
I
last
thought it
week.
was awesome. Was it last week?
I think so.
I said next time I see
I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate it. And that's right. I don't even say it enough, but that Monday show I'm getting, and thanks to BMU for letting me have that. I mean, I just come up with some themes from my own channel, say, hey, what about this? What about this? Yeah. And so far he accepts what I come up with. So I appreciate it.
Well, I think you do a good job. That particular show I think was about the boomers, and I just love the way you facilitated it. So I just wanted to give you your flowers.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Sorry about that, Coach. All right, I guess it's my pick. Dust. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Do people want solutions? Few things. Everyone wants to win. I was in Dominican Republic last week, and I was eating some food, and a cat, the same position. Just I remember as a kid when cats want food, they get in this position, look up at you with them baby eyes. Just dogs do the same thing, begging for food. If you feed them, you teach them that behavior, that this position in this spot. And I assume this cat would have spoke Spanish because I was in DR. Same thing. That would mean that behavior must be a taught thing and is universal because we're all animals, humans also. So if you want to look at why people are the way they are or aren't the way that they are, you probably see it somebody with what it was that they were taught or not taught. Or if people are usually taught the same thing or taught not to do the same thing, and some people are running crazy, something must not have been taught. So what could interrupt the teaching process? Emotional abuse. Shaming and emotional abuse interrupts and forces people, you're not supposed to be this, get in this box and be something else. Just like taking a cat and telling them to bark like a dog. Interrupting while they're a child, their actual thought process, instead of navigating and growing through it. Nope, fix it now because you're not supposed to be that. Cheating them out of a personality or beating the hell out of them. Physical trauma or yelling at them and all this other stuff. Or the worst hidden thing, neglect. That's hidden trauma because you don't see it because it's not even there. So why are people the way that they are? Ask the right questions, you'll find out. What is it that they needed? We only got like 5 or 6 wires, main ones. The hierarchy of physical and emotional needs. This is universal and this is nothing but science. It's the same things. And people are telling you. Eventually it gets to where I know Dr. Nakume can do this, can watch a panel. I know Jay Speed can do it. Watch a panel and almost smell the blood, the pain, the trauma. You can smell it by the way they tilt their head, by the way they ease up when somebody says something. The same forms of the same thing amongst people that's been going on. And what do people do? Keep repeating it. I don't know. Let's add some of the same stuff that doesn't even work. Now, truth is when I'm trolling, it's jokes. A lot of these people I'm cool with, and they can call me, we can talk and have a real conversation. My younger years, I've done a lot of abusive stuff. Emotionally, I've damaged a lot of people. And actually, I'm not proud of it. So why don't I use my gift, the comedy and other things to actually find a way to influence people and fix some of that with the people one by one. Leadership is a dangerous thing. You can lead people into a ditch or you can lead them to the sky. The top level of leadership is influence. Influence doesn't require a title. That means you speak, people move. You walk, people smell your energy and they want to be a part of it. Some of these people are single, some are married, some are young, some are old, some are white, some are black. But they're influential people and they're the most powerful. It doesn't require a title. Leadership by title is the lowest level, and it's actually now becoming the least respected. Do this because I'm a parent, because I'm married, because I am this. I'm your supervisor. People want to follow who they want to follow, not who they're forced to follow. And if they were given the choice, follow or not, that'll show you the leader that you really are. Influence is powerful. Unfortunately, some of it's in the bad hands, and I'm not taking a shot. Shout out to BMU. This is not directed towards him. There are other spaces and others, whatever. Big names, big this, big title, big I'm this, follow me, but they're telling you to go down to the ditch so they can make more money and get everything out of you. And people aren't as dumb as you think. Some of them are lacking in bleeding, but they're not actually dumb. They know your energy. Some people don't listen and don't respond because they know if you like, before you open your mouth, they know that you don't even like them. They know you don't care about them and they know that you don't respect them. Energy is self-preservation is number one. It's first rule. We got to protect ourselves. A lot of people know your energy. You don't care about me. You just, man, they know. But I'll leave it at that. Shout out to the people. Thanks for having me on. I was disciplined and I didn't troll. Now tomorrow's gonna be a different story. Next week, we can get back to the dust. But everybody does have a perspective. Everybody has something that you can learn from, something to give. Shout out to BMU. I was watching some Dustosphere while I was in DR because it was raining half the damn time. I was cracking up on some of the stuff from even over a year ago. Comedy is power, bro. Changes the way people think and the way people feel so they can go out and navigate the world. Use your gifts for the positive. Use influence over titles. Become a better communicator, active listener, stronger person, more patient, and change the world. Or dust. One of the two. Thanks for having me on.
Always an honor. Love you. Love it. Love it. Thank you, sir. Always an honor.
Bring back the Dustosphere.
Real quick, just for those who might be jumping in on the show right now, we're at the tail end in our final thoughts, but welcome to the Black Man Unfiltered Network, where Coach K and I are breaking the myths of mental health. And our conversation tonight was about what solutions. Y'all don't want it. And we were breaking down the idea of sometimes there are solutions, people don't want to accept them. Sometimes there are solutions and people don't even realize it. And the flip side of that, we should also be open to people who have solutions, even if they don't match what we want them to be. So we had a few different twists and turns, deep conversation about it, a few laughs. Please catch the replay. While you are here, hit the like button if you have not already. Those heading out, please hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. If you already know of some of your favorite content providers on the panel, please make sure you visit their locations and their channels. Most of them should be in the chat. If there are new people on the panel that you see tonight, you've not heard from them before, please check out their content. And I've asked at least 5 people to like those channels. So please support the network and those who support the network and those who support the network and support the support. All right, we're in this together. So we are in our final thoughts. So thank you for being here. And Coach K, who we're doing next? And actually, we can leave it up to that after that. We'll just kind of leave it to them if you want.
Who was going next?
I'll go next.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I'll go next.
You the OG.
Once again, I've been edified tonight by just the varied opinions here. I learn best when I see and hear different points of view, different conversations, and some things are going to hit and some things not. Trey, when you were talking about your dad, I had the exact same dad. I mean, so again, a lot of what I learned was learning what I didn't want to be. And that was kind of my, start. It took me a while though, before I started to be able to craft what I did want to be. And for a lot of people that takes place later. Like I said, I didn't really start feeling good about myself as a man until I turned about 40. Because again, the start that I had, the upbringing, that I had with my parents didn't have a positive self-image for a lot of years. So a lot of it was just trying to just stack some victories. But I can certainly tell you that victories in itself can be also like a drug also. So again, the more you actually win, the more you succeed in life, the more you think you're starting at the beginning of the row in the race, but then you find yourself just inching your way up as other people who might have got it started out fast, they start falling by the wayside. So just the steady being consistent with your grind, not worrying about who's to the left or the right, but just keep pushing forward. And then you find yourself, oftentimes ahead of other people, not in an arrogant sense, but just looking back and seeing what you've been able to overcome. So having perspective on where you were and how your life could have turned out and where you wound up and where you're continuing to go and the marks that you're continuing to leave, that's a pretty big high. And so, for me, a lot of that comes from, again, listening, observing, seeing different types of debate. The worst debate you can have is getting somebody on a partisan network and they bring in the person they can easily beat. Certainly having somebody you can really see the points in both perspectives, and then you take that time to really form your own opinions off of a well-informed debate. But I've never liked it when you've had debates that have been stacked to the host's favor just to get likes or clicks or say, get off my show because I won the debate. So for me, in these spaces, I've always come to this simply as honestly as I can. I don't believe in necessarily offering prescriptions or even advice. I just offer perspective of someone who comes from my background. Some people you can relate to my background, some people who can't. But if you can take some nuggets from what I've been able to overcome and what I'm continuing to do, that's edification enough. And so that's what I want to bring to these spaces. To keep the conversation civil, to respect the differences in that people bring, whether it be political or religious or whatever, to learn from everybody. So again, I don't have this generational thing. I mean, I'm a Gen Xer, but I can learn from the Gen Y. My kids teach me all the time, and same thing with millennials as well as the OGs as well. So what's helping, I think, to keep me young is having that open perspective. I think, my main thing is I want to grow wiser. I don't want to grow older. And so as long as I have that mindset to listen to all who come to the table, then I think that helps keep you young as well. So for those who are out there, I would just encourage you, keep listening, keep finding, one day you may find that message, someone maybe just drop something innocuously and just say, hey, you know what, I can use that. And then work it and try to stack those victories that, again, get contagious after a while. You just keep winning and when you just keep checking all boxes and whatnot. So for every year that I go on, I feel better about myself. I've overcome this. I've overcome these obstacles in my life. So that's where I want to really contribute to these spaces. I enjoy being one of the squares. I look at this like Hollywood squares. I love being one of the squares. You can put me in the center square. I'll be the constant guest. But where I can land a point that resonates with people, I appreciate the feedback that I do get, but I'm not trying to sun anybody here. So say I'm wiser than thou. But let's as a community, as people of goodwill, which I see a lot of people in these spaces trying to do good things by all people. Let's continue to pour that energy out there in season and out of season, and for where it lands in people's hearts or whatnot, let it germinate in people. So thank you again, Black Man, for this platform. Salute to my 7B brothers out there, and let's continue to grow in number and in mass, and enjoy and encourage other people to consider our cause and our movement, that we can free people follically and hopefully even stimulate more ideas out there in these spaces. So I appreciate all you guys. So you guys enjoy your holiday season and with your families and whatnot. And until we meet again, God bless.
You too,
You
sir.
also.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Always an
Mr.
honor, sir.
Bennett.
Be well.
All right.
Yeah, shout out to Doc and Coach K and BMU. I'm appreciative of being here just to just to kind of hang out for a little bit. I was just thinking that when it comes to solutions, that many times it's more frustrating to try to give advice versus just counsel somebody through something where usually you have the solution inside of you. There are a few that would like a plan, and that's okay. That's okay if you don't really have a vision and somebody can pour a vision into you. That's perfectly fine. But for a lot of us, we do have some type of vision. We have a goal that we want to reach, and we just need someone that can help encourage us or help to direct us in the right way so that we can actually come to our own conclusions, and versus advice given, because I've tried to tell people many times, this is how I did it, and then they seem to get discouraged or they don't want to do it or whatever. But it just seemed easier to help people find their own way. But I don't have much to say, just because a lot of you are just so intelligent and so smart and everything. So there's just no way I can compete with that. But yeah, obviously, Lou Medic, that means I'm in the medical field, been in the medical field for a long time. But I don't see that as something trying to make myself higher than anybody or anything. That just means that I put up with a lot of punishment all day long. Just like if you were a plumber, just like if you were an electrician, you're gonna go through some people that don't like you very well, but in your heart you're trying to do something. So, but I'm just glad to be here. I'm here because somebody asked me up. So I'm gonna try to come more often. I just been super busy. So. But shout out to everybody on the panel. I've been adoring y'all from afar, so I'll try to come by a little more often. So.
Well, thank you for joining the panel. I have noticed you've supported the channel for a long time, so it's cool to see you pop up on the panel and join us. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
And I've always appreciated your wisdom and what you offer to the chat.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes.
Always have something to offer.
Whatever that smart stuff you're talking about, okay, I'll honor what you're saying. But please
Right.
know I'm humbled sometimes by your insight. Like, oh yeah, good point. So I
Mhm,
encourage and ask you continue. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yes. Thanks.
And thanks for coming up. And thank you for doing the work that you do. Whatever that is in that field, you're saving lives or playing a role in saving lives. So thank you.
Mhm. Yes.
It's a lot. We have a lot of time to catch up and
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. So
Yes, thank you.
all right. Cool. We're down to Lost in Translation. I know our pain is here, but I think he already went, right?
Yeah, I went. I just stay
All right.
up so I can hear everybody, So
I love it. Love it. You're part of the crew, man. Lost in Translation. And then whoever's running the
I got you, Doc. I got you, Doc.
Thank you.
Listen, I want to thank you guys for coming out. I'm going to give you your flowers now while you sit here. Coach K, Doctor, you guys do an amazing job every week. You guys offer solutions. You guys offer a different perspective than most people are not aware of. And I really do appreciate that. It actually brings us awareness of ourselves. And that is a beautiful thing. Oftentimes when we're on these panels, and sometimes when we look for solutions and things of that nature, sometimes things can get a little bit lost in translation. So that's the main reason why I'm glad you guys are here, to offer us a different perspective. Normally when I'm giving advice, I kind of hold myself to a different standard. I have conversations with different versions of myself. I don't know if you guys have heard of this show on Disney Plus called Loki, where in that show, Loki has different variants of himself. Mm-hmm. So what I try to do is I try to have conversations with myself from time to time. Sometimes I will have a conversation with the 20-year-old version of myself and say, hey, look, don't give up. Keep doing this, keep doing that. And then sometimes the 70-year-old version will talk to the 51-year-old version of myself and say, hey, are you making a difference? You know, how well did you handle, you know, Coach K and Dr. Nkumbe on that particular day? Did you give them a perspective, or did you offer them some type of help? And would that help somebody else along the way that they're going to meet? So those genuine connections, Dr. Nkumbe, that you talked about earlier, is what we really need to focus on. That trust, building that trust, honoring what came from the other person, as if, hey, that person has my best interest at heart. And I think when we start developing those connections, then it makes it easier for us to transfer knowledge and wisdom. Anytime we get on these panels, this should always be coming from a place of good faith. And I think sometimes we trade in that good faith in for entertainment value, because it's so much easier to have a dysfunctional conversation because it gets views. Yes, it does get clicks. Yes, advertisers say, hey, more eyeballs means I can sell more products. But the thing about it is that in this space, we're proving that even though we may not have the numbers right now, it is going to definitely change the numbers behind the scenes, those private conversations that you have. Because that's been many of conversations I've bragged on Coach K. She just don't know it. I bragged on Dr. Nkumbe. He just doesn't know it. And I've also shared the stream in different locations. And that's the reason why sometimes the numbers may go up, because they're going to hear, you know what I mean? Sometimes people don't always want to come to see me talk. Sometimes they want to come see Coach K. Sometimes they want to see Arpain and Dr. Nkumbe. You know what I mean? I already understand that most times the things that I say may not land on people a certain way, but I have to make sure that I at least try and get the word out, because everybody today offered a perspective that added to the toolbox to everybody else. And I think it is that buffet and that smorgasbord that we participate in that allows us to leave a little bit more full each and every single time. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight and allowing us to feed you and allowing you to feed us with the questions in the comments so that we're better each and every day. Doc, Coach K, thank you so much for having me up this evening. It's always a pleasure. I want to make sure I give you guys your flowers while you're here. And thank you for doing the work that you do. I really, really do appreciate it. And thank you to Black Money Filter for putting in the work every single day behind the scenes, making shows like this possible. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, it's an honor. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Much, much appreciated.
Truly.
Coach.
Wowza.
Yeah. I can go first, either one, but
yeah, sure.
When you do, so I'll close first then.
Yeah.
And if you guys can put me on the individual, bam. So thank you everyone who attended the show or listening in on the replay. I love getting into my theatrics, as you'll hear or see. The lesson, hopefully, that you're able to take away tonight is really finding that balance between both universes, since I'll play on that word coming off the Loki conversation. Both universes. There's a set of people who, how could so many be so wrong? Wanted to intentionally acknowledge them. Sometimes I hear Sugar Bum or read Sugar Bum's comments and stuff. She's saying, hey, all young people can't be idiots. So my thought is you are correct. And why are so many like-minded people? Why are there so many like-minded people? Is it that they're all wrong? When I think through the clinical lens, when I think about the people I've actually served, people who I've talked about, the people who I've participated in clinical autopsies, we break down the fact that, guess what? Those same people do have solutions. That's their version of the solution. It may not match with mine. It may not align with mine. I don't have to agree with it, but that's their version of a solution. Really wanted to help people get into the mindset from a small group, not everyone, the mindset of people who come from that space of I matter and I'm tired of not being listened to. I'm tired of not being heard. So what if I look different, sound different, height different, weight different, skin tone different, bald or hair different? I'm different, but that doesn't make me wrong. I'm different, and it also doesn't mean I'm right. And guess what? I need to learn how to accept your perspective as well as I hope you're able to accept mine. But what gets in the way from these authentic conversations? Emotions. People get caught on those emotions. People get caught in these thoughts. And your thoughts can take you, skyrocket you to places you didn't intend to go. So emotions, thoughts, and certain actions that you take in life puts you in position where people don't want to hear you. They don't want to hear you. Read the room when you go places. Notice those who are, here they go again, and those who are happy to see you. Because if you're looking for ideas, if you're looking for solutions, if you're looking to problem solve or help with critical thinking, you won't be able to get any of that if you're not even welcomed in the space. And I want to be clear on another thing. The conversation tonight is not for those channels or conversations that are meant for entertainment. Those entertainment conversations, I wouldn't even say this dialogue qualifies. I don't want to dismiss the intent on being humorous with being disingenuous. They don't go together. And if you watch many times on this network, the Black Man Unfiltered Network, there are times when I'm invited offering a clinical perspective on a show that was meant for either humor, fun, entertainment, on a ladies' night when they're chopping it up, on an all men's panel when they're chopping it up, or just because there's a way that the network allows for the kind of the bandwidth, if you will, and then it gets back to where they were going. So there's always space for something, but if we're truly talking about solutions, there's always a solution. Always a solution. You just have to look at what perspective you're coming from. We had quite a few guests up tonight. I want to thank those who I've met for the first time, actually seeing them on the camera. So thank you for being here. Thank you for coming up. For those in the chat, thank you for sharing in the space with us. Please, again, hit the like button. Also share. Hopefully you were able to take something away from what Coach K and I talked about. And last thing I would end with, always keep in mind the stimuli, the stimulation. It changes. 2 in the afternoon conversation lands differently at 2 a.m. Are you prepared for that stimulation and that change, and how you're going to respond versus react? Thank you. Coach.
Wow.
Bring it home. Bring it home.
That was good. Thank you everyone who caught us live, who's going to catch this replay, those who joined us on the panel. I wish we had more time, and there's plenty of questions that I would love to ask, and but we would be here forever. I love the questions that Dr. Nakumbi asked. That's probably my favorite thing about being a coach and just talking about mental health and human behavior is just being curious on why people do the things that they do, because it's usually unbeknownst to them. And usually that's where the answers are. That's where I can help them the most. But I want to thank Black Man Unfiltered again for allowing Dr. Nakumbi and I to have our show on his channel, and for all of the supporters, and for those who are here every Thursday. Thank you, Lost in Translation, for the words, and Mr. and Mrs. Mr. He said, and then this says. How about that? But yeah, when it comes to solutions, I think I would offer people who think that people don't want solutions. How do they know? Is it really that simple? What if they do? Things are not always as simple as they seem. And maybe even question if you want solutions, or what are the expectations that people should want solutions, things like that. There's a lot of questions that you can, whatever that belief is, to turn that question around. How do you know? Maybe they don't want solutions. So what? Things like that. But I will say that if they don't want solutions, to have some understanding, to be curious what that understanding is, because I think that allows for us to meet in a conversation with in good faith, like Lost in Translation said. But change is hard, and we talked a lot about that throughout this conversation. But overall, I mean, this was a great show. And the last thing I want to say before we're both on the screen was, and I've never heard this quote by Thomas Sowell, but the quote goes, "When you want to help people, you tell them the truth. When you want to help people, you tell them the truth. When you want to help yourself, you tell them what they want to hear." So I would just end with that.
Nice, 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 nice. Coach, I'm not sure if we answered what is a solution. In short, I just want to say, and here's a perception of it. A solution is really an answer to a challenge or a struggle. It doesn't have to be the all in all answer. That does not have to be. It's a possible answer or remedy or strategy that you can utilize during a problem, a challenge, a struggle. And guess what? There are positive challenges, positive struggles. Planning for someone's birthday surprise, planning for a parent's death. You've never done that before. New territory, culture shock, new type of relationship, work relationships. I'm just trying not to get in trouble. So strategies to being more successful within those business relationships, family relationships. I talked about trauma earlier, the fact that I don't do so-and-so and don't do so-and-so because I can remember the uncle, I can remember the grandma, I can remember being the boy being handled, being the girl being handled. But do you live the rest of your life as a walking trauma? There are possible solutions, remedies, things you can do to manage. Doesn't mean you cure, doesn't mean you resolve, doesn't mean you squash it all, but to manage. There's several examples tonight of people who manage. We've seen them over time. Mandrell, I've watched him manage. Warlock, I've watched him manage. Trey One, or however they call him, watched him manage. Information Man, I have to give him a huge shout out. A couple of weeks ago, watched him manage. So we've all done it in our own way. BMU, I've watched him manage. But just because we see people manage one or two times doesn't mean that we won't ever have another time where we seem like we were whatever. Because there's a level of trust that comes with offering solutions and a level of trust with receiving solutions. So just wanted to put that out there. Have standards, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks to all of our people who attended. You named a few. Lost in Translation, Scam, K-Soul, Mr. Bennett, Warlock, Trey Ferg?
Yeah, Trey Ferg, yeah.
Yeah. Prototype, I think you mentioned, and you already mentioned the Sense. So thank you. And
Mr. Payne.
BMU stocked up too as well. So thank you. All right, ladies and gents.
Yes. That's it.
Peace.
Bye.
Thanks, Coach K. Coach K, thank you.
See ya. Take care of yourself.
Thank you.
Bye, y'all.